kicked it over to Kinjio Lang. Use it to level a table leg. Kinjio Lang nearly threw his back out. Use the national seal to level a table. That's too extravagant. If you find it extravagant, go prop up the toilet door. Huiji country's nominal authority has completely collapsed. Ninja World Rule Unification Progress 72. He let out a cold snort. To harvest the leeks you have to pull them out by the roots. The scene shifts to the port construction site of a country. For the first time ever, the 5 great ninja villages weren't fighting. They were all heads down hauling bricks. Why? Because if anyone slacked off, Ningxi would pay them a visit. If anyone caused trouble, you would draw a card. Here the new rules were harder than life itself. At the center of the training ground, Ningxi flung out his subcard slot. Normal summon. Rock Giant. A colossal rock beast rose from the ground, heaving a 10-ton boulder with a thunderous roar. Holy shit! Kinjio Lang's eyes turned red with envy as he commanded several gear monsters to frantically fill sand. This is the ultimate dream of a puppeteer. Machines do the work, I just slack off. Shouju rolled her eyes at him. Believe me, I'll hang you on a tree with one swing of my fan. Not far away, Wei Luo's sand projection was observing. The sand-formed guard bearing the card back of attack nullification instantly shattered the flying test kunai. Wei Luo stared at the card imprint on his wrist and suddenly spoke. Yi. When the new rules spread, will ninjas still be ninjas? The entire scene came to a halt. Yu Yi stood on the high platform overlooking the allied forces of the 5 villages below. The word ninja has long been worn out by Mai and the daimyo's palace. Tools, weapons, sacrificial lambs. It sounds worse than a dog. He picked up a blank card between 2 fingers, his fingertips suddenly exerting force. I set up the server, I grant permissions. Whoever uses power takes responsibility for the consequences, all written into the underlying code. If anyone dares to create another caged bird. Yes, gaze was like a blade. It'll chop off his hands. Ningxi's eyes reddened and he lowered his head abruptly. Shouju and Wei Luo also fell into silence. Gentleness couldn't save the ninja world. Only by crushing the old rules could one stand tall and live. Night fell. Yu Yi was about to reinforce the base station when the dual disc suddenly emitted an extremely harsh screech. It wasn't the system's blue light. It was a wildly flashing crimson warning. Warning. Detected high-dimensional copyright pollution source actively scanning this world. Coordinates Moon. Judgment de Tong Mu main brain level pirated program awakening. The altar's light instantly went out. Ningxi rushed onto the high platform. Lord Yi. The sky. Everyone looked up at the same time, drawing in a sharp breath. The once bright moon had split open. A purple-black data crack tore through the lunar crust, transforming into a giant eye. The eye was filled with fragmentary Xia Luan Yen and Lun Hui Yen along with wildly churning inferior code. The oppressive sensation crossed space, sweeping across the globe. At the ruins of Mai. Suizhu tightly covered his bleeding Threedamos. Xia Luan Yen Ming Ren's Jiao Wei inside him bristled. That's definitely not a woman. That's a planet-eating monster. At the rain-hidden tower, the damaged card in Changmen's hand trembled violently out of control. In the daimyo's residence, the daimyo who had just lost the national seal fainted from sheer terror. Above a country, the 3 phantom god cards sensed the existential crisis and burst forth with a thunderous roar. Crimson lightning tore through the night sky, golden flames dispelled the purple glow, and the giant soldier of stone punched the void, forcibly neutralizing the high-dimensional pressure. The system's red text scrolled wildly. The moon's defense layer has been fully taken over externally. The Divine Tree's main program has been infected by a secondary virus. The other side forcibly sent a handshake protocol. Demand hand over the 3 phantom gods. Hand over control of the Ninja World base station. The entire scene fell into dead silence. They want our trump cards. Kinjio Lang's teeth chattered. What happens if we don't hand them over? Channel establishing. First wave arrival, Moon's surface, the Tong Mu puppets, pseudo-god card legion. Second wave, format this world. This was an undisguised countdown to annihilation. Yu Yi stared fixedly at the purple eye on the moon, but instead of retreating he burst into wild laughter. Coming to my turf and trying to steal my authority. This dog from beyond the sky is quite arrogant. He slammed the dual disc shut, and the 3 phantom gods behind him unleashed a roar that shook the clouds. Ultimate Main Quest Update Interstellar Duel. Eliminate the high-dimensional main brain. Ningxi. Here. Notified the entire ninja world. Within 24 hours every living person must immediately connect to a country's base station. Anyone who disconnects will be treated as a traitor. Kenjyo Lang. Shouju. Here. Stop all dormitory work. Immediately convert the port into a war platform. Those who can fight take weapons, those who can't carry explosives. Ujiba Yes Windbreaker flapped in the wind, his fingertip pointing at the cracked moon, his eyes filled with savage killing intent. You want to format my world? Today I will physically exorcise this pirated main brain of yours. The fissure on the moon continuously rained down purple-black data droplets. The raindrops fell on the border of Lei Jigua and two Jigua, exploding into pale white card frames. These card frames had no physical form, they directly adhered to the chakra of the ninja. In a Kumoan outpost, the Chunin looked up, gray lines spreading across his arm. The Chunin collapsed to the ground, the meridians within his body transformed into a grid-like card field, losing his self-awareness. Disconnect. Disconnect now. Near the ceiling tower, the emergency projection of Darui flickered rapidly. Darui, sweating coldly, said 37 people on the western front of Lei Jigua have been forcibly marked. This thing is turning living people into cards. Niji stood atop the tower, activating his Byakugan to extend his gaze to the farthest distance. Lord Yi. The pseudocardization is spreading. Niji wiped his sweat. They are not killing people, they are seizing control. Uchiha Yi stood at the core of the ceiling tower, the red light of the dual disc illuminating the side of his face. Yi stared at the cracked moon, a slight grin curling at the corner of his mouth. Just started the game, and they want to hack my server and steal my soldiers. Beneath, Kankuro carrying a steel plate curled his lips, hearing this. Bossy, if those are pawns, what am I? Temari kicked a box of explosive tags which landed at Kankuro's feet. You're a laborer. Hurry up and work. Only the living have the right to speak. The outer sea churned with waves and 3 black stone pillars surged out of the water. The patterns on the pillars glowed with blue light, connecting to the ceiling tower. Wajigwa main base station synchronization rate 100. Global firewall activated, a blue defensive halo expanded outward, colliding with the purple-black data rain. A deafening roar erupted and the fragmented card frames were burned away. Yi tapped the dual disc. All shinobi forced online. 5 beams of light descended at the base of the tower, and the projections of the 5 shadows materialized. In the Konoha command center, Hiruzen Sarutobi lowered his head. The lightning shadow clenched his fist, his arms wrapped in bandages. Purple light pierced through the mist surrounding Terumi Mei. Anoki floated in the air, his face stern. Only the sand mark on Gaara's forehead shimmered with blue light. The lightning shadow smashed a stone pillar at the edge of the projection and shouted, Uchiha Yi. The moon monster is coming for Lei Jigua. The wartime command authority cannot be entirely yours. Anoki clenched his fist. The shinobi world is not your private property. IWA must retain independent dispatch authority. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed. You let old grudges be set aside for now. But you cannot use the base stations to completely control the lifelines of the 5 great villages. Kankuro chuckled below. Our clan is almost extinct and these people are still fighting over control. Temari snorted coldly. That's the pride of the old era. They'd rather die on the throne. Yi did not argue. With the dead there is no need for reasoning. Yi used 2 fingers to pick up a trap card and slapped it into the dual disc. Activate trap card. Same name, same surname, alliance treaty. Blue light spread from the top of the tower, forming wartime clauses that hovered above the 5 shadows. Wartime core logic locked. Within 24 hours any unit connected to the base station that dares to disconnect shall die. Any private contact with the lunar contamination source will be judged as a traitor unit, and will lose protection. The 5 shadows widened their eyes. The lightning shadow's body crackled with lightning. Are you threatening us? Yi looked ahead and said, this is a notification. You may also choose not to comply. A purple-black scanning beam descended from the sky, aimed at the western front of Lei Jigua. The blue shield of the Wajigua base station expanded and deflected the beam. Darua's stammering voice came through. Lightning Shadow-sama. If it hadn't blocked, the entire western front would have been annihilated. The lightning shadow stopped his movement. Anoki closed his mouth. Hiruzen Sarutobi shut his eyes and lowered his head. Konoha. Will connect fully. Gaara looked at the screen and said, Suna is in position. You give the order. 5 Great Shinobi Villages connection complete. Shinobi World Rule Unification Level 76. He glanced around at the crowd and uttered a few words. Count yourselves lucky. A rare scene unfolded beneath the ceiling tower. People wearing different headbands crowded together on a high platform carrying bricks. An Iwan in welding formation pattern said yesterday I was still cutting down Cumanin, and today I have to hand a wrench to a Cumanin. A nearby Cumanin wiped his sweat. Stop babbling. Your IWA screws are crooked, you want to kill us all. Niji glanced at them. Both immediately fell silent and quickened their work. Kankuro chuckled. This is boss yes efficiency. Temari this gear. You put it on backward. Temari glared at him. If you mess up again I'll stuff you into a cannon and blast you out. Boom, the outer sea space split open. A black crack appeared on the ocean's surface. A mechanical voice echoed. Executing divine punishment. Reclaiming authority. Sampling. The first batch of Otsutsuki puppets emerged. They wore white robes and had no faces. The puppets' foreheads bore gray crystals and behind them floated incomplete divine card fields. Kankuro's eyes widened and he laughed. What the hell? This is a pirated outer packaging from the black market. Stick a gold trim on it, and pretend it's a master's handiwork. Counterfeit goods aren't even worthy of being cannon fodder. He raised his wrist and all the slots of the dual disc opened. System scan complete judged as inferior pirated copies. Composition 6 paths relic channel combined with lunar puppet fragments Otsutsuki's dogs. Yes, face turned cold. My turn, draw a card. 3 meta-feeling cards were drawn by Yi and slapped onto the dual disc. 3 steel beasts landed on the sea surface, their treads pressing down the waves. Scrap metal watched closely. Yi closed his fingers. Machine combination. Special summon, XYZ Divine Dragon Cannon. The main cannon charged upward, golden circuits illuminating the night sky. The Otsutsuki puppet closed its palms and the card frame behind it expanded. Divine Punishment Execution. Using pirated cards to raise a shield. Who gave you the courage? Yi shouted. Blast them to pieces. Hum boom. The main cannon of the Divine Dragon Cannon fired a white beam of light. The first row of 30 lunar puppets vanished in the light beam. The pseudo-divine fields behind them exploded into garbled code. The secondary cannons fired in succession, hitting the gray crystals on the foreheads of the puppets in the rear. The remains of the puppets crackling with electricity fell into the sea. The mechanical voice from the crack stuttered. Sam. Sampling failed. Sampling failed. The garbled code on the sea surface formed several lines of red small text. 6 paths tossed, plan phase 1 sampling Uchiha Yi failed. Requesting phase 2 intervention, suspected Saint-kind interference. Niji stepped back. Saint-kind interference. There is someone behind the moon. That's the backing boss that supports it. Yi smiled. The 3 phantom god cards in his deck were trembling. Ruor. Osiris struck down, red lightning, obelisk, shadow pressed the island half a foot down. The remaining text was also burned away by the golden flames of the sun god. God card activation quest triggered. Hold the base station for 24 hours. Quest updated. Sever the moon's pirated sampling chain. Simultaneously confirm the coordinates of the dark evil god. The dark evil god also wants a piece. Yi looked at the quest panel, raising his chin. Fine, let them line up to die. Just as he was about to adjust the cannon's aim toward the lunar fissure, both the dual disc and the ceiling tower's light screen flashed red warnings. Extreme warning. Detected second card holder target approaching. Washigua coordinates authority. Same source verification passed. System unable to execute automatic elimination procedure. The battlefield fell silent. Niji looked toward the outer sea. Deep in the ocean, a broken ship with a lone lantern drifted through the storm toward the base station. Kankuro scratched the back of his head. Damn. At a time like this, a rival for the number 2 spot shows up. Uchiha Yi placed his fingers on the card slot of the dual disc, staring down at the broken ship. I guessed. Yi squinted. I hope you brought enough tickets for your life this trip. Over the open sea, purple-black data fell from the sky, crashing into the waves and splashing a patch of black light. A dilapidated wooden boat braved the huge waves, slowly sailing into the offshore waters of the land of whirlpools. A white-haired youth stood at the bow of the boat. Between his fingers he held a black card, a smile curling at the corners of his mouth. Drip. The blue light of the judgment pillar scanned down, but no thunderbolt descended. Scanning target. Chakra none. Ninjutsu system none. High-dimensional permission detection in progress. Same source judgment. Cannot forcibly eliminate. Kankuro's eyes widened. This broken pillar is crashing. It won't even kill pirates. Temari opened her iron fan, wind swirling from her feet. The system can't recognize him. Niji activated his Byakugan, gazing at the youth's chest. In the Byakugan's vision, the youth had no meridians or chakra inside his body. At the heart, a black core with golden patterns hung. Niji furrowed his brow, his voice carrying across the sea. Stop the ship, state your identity. The white-haired youth looked up, gazing toward the direction of the ceiling tower. I thought Uchiha Yoru would greet me personally. Kankuro sneered, flicking his fingers, and chakra thread shot out from his sleeve. Want to see Boss Yoru? Pay the toll first. The sea surface exploded. 3 gear puppets burst out from the waves, their screeching gears grinding as they lunged straight for the dilapidated boat. The youth flipped the black card between his fingers. Black mist emerged from the card's surface like a living thing, wrapping around the 3 gear puppets and pulling them directly into the card. The chakra threads snapped instantly. Kankuro staggered, his expression changing. Damn, I just assembled that new toy. Niji stomped his foot and leaped into the air. 8 trigrams empty palm. The palm strike aimed at the youth's heart. The youth stood at the bow, not dodging. The black card once again surged with black mist, blocking Niji's palm strike. Bang! The palm blast exploded, the broken boat shaking violently but not falling apart. Niji landed back on the shore, his Byakugan fixed intently on the black card. This is not ninjutsu. The youth smiled. Of course. He stood upright on the broken boat, gazing toward the distant ceiling tower. I am Morio, here to see the duel player. On the war platform, the projections of the 5 Kage fell silent simultaneously. The Reiki's face darkened. Another monster. Anoki rubbed his eyes, his mouth twitching. When did the ninja world become a high-dimensional card wholesale market? Terumi Mei looked at Uchiha Yoru on the top of the tower. Your friend. Uchiha Yoru stood high, hands behind his back. I don't know him. Temari gripped her iron fan, her gaze fixed on Morio. Lord Yoru, let me kill him. Not yet. Yoru raised his hand. Let him come. The broken boat docked. The judgment pillar's red and blue light flickered alternately, and a voice rang out intermittently. Recommend host to manually judge. And Morio stepped ashore, the black cards spinning between his fingers. Uchiha Yoru looked at him. You bypassed my underlying code. And Morio shook the black card. Don't misunderstand, it's just that your rules aren't fully effective. He looked up, his gaze falling on Yoru's dual disc. You have an authentic system and I have authentic cards. It's just that we're on different tracks. As the words fell, the deck beside Yoru began to vibrate. Boom. The winged dragon of RA burst into golden flames. Slifer the sky dragon unleashed red lightning, scattering the clouds above. The phantom of Obelisk the tormentor appeared in the center of the island, its fists pounding its chest with a heavy rumble. Nearby ninja, unable to withstand the divine might, fell to their knees one by one, sweat beading on their foreheads. And Morio lowered his head, patting the corner of his garment blackened by the golden flames. Bad temper. Uchiha Yoru stared at him, his eyes utterly unruffled. And Morio spread his hands. Don't be tense, I'm here to help so you don't get used as a pawn by the 3 Egyptian gods. Having said that, and Morio produced the spell card. Activate the spell card, Dark Designator. Black mist spread from the card, covering the offshore area. The pseudo-god fragment left by the moon Otsutsuki was enveloped by the black mist, then gradually swallowed into the card. System Judgment. Authentic card, Dark Designator. Contains dark side authority. Niji looked up at the sky, the light of his Byakugan slightly receding. The scanning of that Otsutsuki eye in the sky is stuttering. And Morio looked at Yoru, spreading his hands. See, I've offered my allegiance. Uchiha Yoru raised his dual disc. Helping doesn't mean you can stand and talk to me. My turn, draw. The dual disc lit up with golden light. Activate the spell card, Light Sealing Swords. 3 golden swords descended from the sky, landing around and Morio. The sword array spread golden light, pressing down. The black mist from the black card was forcibly suppressed back into the deck. And Morio was trapped in place, his smile fading somewhat. You really have no manners. Uchiha Yoru descended from the steps of the ceiling tower. Trespass on my island, devour my monsters, and still dare to badmouth my divine cards. Yoru stopped outside the sword array, his gaze fixed on Morio's face. Not slicing you up and making you into card packs is the greatest courtesy I have. Kankuro gave a thumbs up from behind. Boss, you're tough. And Morio, enduring the pressure of the golden swords, tapped his dark deck with his fingertips. The Six Paths Tosa plan is not intended to resurrect Kage at all. The platform instantly fell silent. The projections of the 5 Kage all turned to look at Morio. Uchiha Yoru's eyes slightly darkened. Continue. And Morio raised his head, meeting Yoru's eyes directly. Kage, the Otsutsuki, and that divine tree are all ready-made extraction pipelines. The true purpose of the mastermind is to cultivate the entire ninja world into an altar for the dark evil god. The 3 Egyptian gods roared again. The ceiling tower lit up with golden, red, and blue light. Many ninja covered their heads trembling. Uchiha Yoru raised his hand and slapped the dual disc. Authority descended and the 3 gods were forcibly retracted into their card slots. And Morio watched this scene, a hint of seriousness deepening in his eyes. Being able to forcibly suppress the god cards. You are more terrifying than I thought. Uchiha Yoru's voice turned cold. Enough nonsense, who's pulling the strings? And Morio spoke slowly. Tosu is just an external component, the core is hidden behind the shadow of the evil god. It's looking for authentic authority for the 3 gods and also for the tailed beasts as sacrifices. Beside Gaara's projection, sand condensed into the head of Shikaku. Shikaku's eyes widened. What the hell? I'm a sacrifice. And Morio twitched the corner of his mouth. All tailed beasts in the eyes of the evil god are nothing but cheap candles for lighting. The Reiki's voice suddenly rose. Even the 8 tails. And Morio did not answer, only looked at Uchiha Yoru. Uchiha Yoru stared at Morio. Why did you come to tip me off? And Morio spread his hands. Because when the evil god descends, it'll be devoured too. I don't want to be food. He paused, then added, my credibility is at least a bit better than the Fire Country's daimyo, right? Kankuro curled his lip. Even a stray dog on the street has more credibility than the daimyo. Uchiha Yoru didn't respond to that. One last question. Yoru's gaze fell on the black card in Morio's hand. Do you have an evil god card? And Morio curled his lips. Against the pressure of the light ceiling swords, he slowly revealed the black card in his palm. The patterns on the back of the card began to change. A night pattern with a red glow emerged on the card's surface. And Morio looked at Yoru. You have the 3 Egyptian gods. Unfortunately, I also have a god card. Boom. The 3 light ceiling swords shook violently, golden light flickering. Black mist seeped through the gaps of the sword array. The sea surface churned with black waves. In the sky, the purple-black giant eye within the moon's crack paused slightly, as if sensing something deeper. And Morio's voice carried through the wind and rain. Uchiha Yoru. Want to see the shadow of the dark evil god? Sacrifice your life points. Hand over your life. And Moyoung turned his palm, and the black card with an inverted eye suddenly opened. In the minds of the ninjas connected to the system base station, a vague voice echoed. The sound of the outer sea waves ceased instantly. At the port defense line, a mist ninja's eyes widened. The red light on his wrist subcard slot flickered. Warning, Loter connector is actively applying to deduct LP. Stay sharp. Ning's CI executed a body flicker and crushed the terminal device with a soft fist strike. The mist ninja fell to his knees, cold sweat soaking his back. I was about to hand over my life just now. The phenomenon of losing control spread along the defense line. Uchiha Yi stared at Moyoung with icy eyes. And Moyoung, you're courting death. And Moyoung raised the black card and laughed. Don't be angry, just testing the goods. If I don't show you, how can you trust my intel? Before he finished speaking, the sea surface exploded. A black evil god apparition emerged from the water. The data split eye on the moon rotated rapidly, sending down purple beams of light that struck the sea's surface, absorbing the fragments of the evil god. Detected high-risk rule provocation. Before Uchiha Yi could give the order, the 3 phantom gods sensed the danger and appeared automatically. Crimson thunderbolts tore across the sky, and Osiris Sky Dragon spat out thunderbolt missiles. Obelisk's giant soldier crushed the ground, its massive fists smashing forward. The winged dragon of Ra spread its golden wings, and the flames it emitted caused the waters of the outer sea to boil. The projection of the 4th Reikage gripped the edge of the table tightly. This is the power of the 3 phantom gods. Anoki's forehead dripped with sweat. If I had faced such an attack back then, this old man would have been dead long ago. The flames crashed down. The evil god apparition dispersed into dozens of black wisps, seizing the opportunity to cling to the edge nodes of the base station. Warning: edge nodes contaminated, loader connectors LP being drained. Lord Yi, we must cut off the nodes. Ning Xi drew his weapon, veins bulging on his forehead. System prompt: force cutoff will cause the defense line to rupture, expanding the gap by 80. No cut. Uchiha Yi glanced at the system prompt, his fingers gliding over his deck, emitting a glow. Activate sealed golden chest. The golden chest crashed to the ground, its lid opening. Uchiha Yi's fingers swiped across the screen, floating in midair. Select all, cut and pack them inside. Admin high-level command confirmed. The black wisps screeched, splitting into countless thin threads, attempting to burrow into the minds of the crowd below. Uchiha Yi curled his lips, slapping a trap card onto his dual disc. Trying to run. Activate face-down card magic cylinder. 2 purple cylinders materialized out of thin air. The underlying code altered. Those mental attacks slammed into the cylinders, transforming into thicker black beams of light that rebounded along the same path. What? Anmoliang's smile vanished, and he stepped back. The black card in his palm shattered, black smoke rising and scorching his right arm. Rebound mental contamination. You can rewrite the underlying code. Uchiha Yi looked down at the people below. You used my people as test subjects, this is the testing fee. He closed his 5 fingers and the golden chest sealed shut. The defense line stabilized once more. Lord Yi, can we kill him now? Temari gripped her fan. And Moliang, clutching his bleeding arm, shouted. Check your own system panel first. Don't be in such a hurry to kill me. At that moment the dual disc emitted a piercing sound. Golden characters projected out of the screen, appearing before Uchiha Yi's eyes. Core Trigger God Card Exclusive Activation Quest. Divine Authority Taming. Requirement: the host must suppress the 3 phantom gods from the system level once without using any god cards. Explanation: prove whether you are the master of the cards or merely a vessel for power. Ning's eyes widened. What? Suppress the 3 phantom gods. Silence fell around them. The system prompt indicated that Uchiha Yi was not yet able to fully control these 3 cards. And Moliang laughed loudly. See. If you can't suppress them, they'll drain your sanity and turn you into a puppet. With a rumbling sound, the card face of the winged dragon of Ra burst into golden flames. And Moliang saw this and retreated. Uchiha Yi looked at the system panel, a smirk forming on his lips. He lifted his head, his gaze fixed on the 3 phantom gods in the sky. I accept. Lord Yi, you can't. How can you suppress them without using god cards? Ning Xi stepped forward to stop him. I have a plan. Uchiha Yi raised a hand to cut off the conversation, tapping on the dual disc. His voice echoed through the base station. Once they enter my deck, I am the law. The 3 phantom gods in the sky ceased their roaring. The overwhelming pressure remained, but they retreated into their card slots. Quest accepted. Preview: after completing Divine Authority Taming, the Creator Authority will be unlocked, increasing the fusion probability of the Light of Creation. There are cards even stronger than the 3 phantom gods. Kankuro's eyes widened. Temari elbowed him. You're missing the point. You don't understand. The stronger Lord Yes cards are the more secure we feel working here. Kankuro replied. Shikaka poked its head out from Gaara's sand. But what if he fails to suppress them and suffers backlash? The gazes of those around turned to him. Shikaka retreated back into the sand. Just asking, go on. Uchiha Yi looked at Moliang. You've shown your intimidation and given your intel. Now let's talk about your toll fee. He pointed at the broken black card. Return what you took from my subordinates. Yeah, give back my machine. Kankuro echoed. And Moliang's lips twitched. You call that junk a machine? Stop stalling. If you don't return it, you'll pay with your life. Uchiha Yi's gaze was cold. And Moliang tossed out 3 gears marked with black patterns. System scan discovered smeltable material. Dark gear core. Kankuro ran over to pick up the gears. Mutated material. This time we hit the jackpot. Second. Uchiha Yi raised 2 fingers. You are only allowed to stay at the outer sea defense line. If you step into the base station core area, you die. Reasonable. And Moliang nodded. Third, all cards with dark effects must be reported to the base station before activation. You're telling me how to do things. And Moliang sneered. Uchiha Yi flung out a card. 3 light of sealing swords appeared in the sky. The sword tips hovered above and Moyang's head radiating golden light. And Moyang restrained his demeanor. This requirement is quite reasonable. I am a man of rules. Ning's CI monitoring. If any abnormal commands appear, seal the card first, then search the memory. Ning's CI slapped a system brand onto the back of Moyang's hand. The moment the agreement was reached, a piercing red alarm echoed across the whirlpool country. The split eye on the moon expanded. From within the cracked eye came a mechanical sound system broadcast. Phase 1 physical suppression failed. Initiating 6 paths tossed. Phase 2. 9 purple beams of light pierced the atmosphere, falling into various parts of the ninja world. At the Sunigakure defense line, Gaara clutched his abdomen, and Shikaku within him screamed in agony. Inside the lightning country, the 8 tails slammed against the culture chamber, causing the sealing talismans to ignite. Deep beneath Konoha, the unconscious Naruto Uzumaki's body generated 9 tails chakra, and Crimson Fox fire erupted. High-level red alert. The enemy mainframe is extracting tailed beast data. Go reconstruct the evil god's body. The faces of those around them turned pale. The enemy intended to drain the energy of all tailed beasts to rebuild a physical form for that eye. Uchiha Yoru stood at the front of the platform, the wind ruffling his coat. He drew a card. The 3 phantom gods behind him roared. Notify all fronts. Uchiha Yoru stared at the cracked moon beyond the sky, killing intent in his eyes. Cancel defensive operations. Full transition to annihilation operations. Uchiha Yoru raised his wrist toward the sky, and the dual disc radiated golden light. You want to drain my tailed beasts? Today I'll dismantle your main control board first. Above the ceiling tower of the whirlpool country, the violet-black moonlight cast upon the sea surface. 9 beams of light descended, and the base station's light curtain flickered with a red glow. Suna Defense Zone 1 tail sample undergoing remote extraction. Kumo Inner Ring 8 tail sample undergoing remote extraction. Konoha Ruins 9 tail sample undergoing remote extraction. Extreme warning: Uchiha bloodline synchronous reaction detected. Kankuro kicked over a toolbox and cursed. This damn moon knows how to order takeout. 3 tailed beasts being extracted at once. Temari's face pale, she stared at the screen and said, "Shut up. Shikaku is in trouble." On the Suna feed, the yellow sand was frozen midair. Gaara bent over his abdomen, flickering with a violet-black card frame. Strings of code turned into chains, pulling Shikaku's head outward. Shikaku roared. "Damn moon! I'm not your power bank." It clawed at the edge of the gourd, not daring to look toward the whirlpool country. Uchiha Yoru stared at the light curtain, saying nothing. The Kumo feed expanded. The 4th Raikage's eyes bloodshot. He smashed the stone table before him with a punch, and shouted to save the 8 tails first. In the ceiling chamber, Killer Bee was pinned in place, a violet-black frame embedded in Gyuki's tentacles, data streams being drained. Anoki hopped around nearby, saying the IWA ceiling vault was also locked and resources couldn't all go to Kumo. Terumi Mei followed up, saying the rift near the Kiri Outer Sea was approaching and needed the base station's support. Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared last on the feed, his voice hoarse. "Your Naruto must not be harmed." Inside the Konoha ruins, Naruto lay in the center of a formation. Kurama's red chakra was being pulled outward by violet-black borders. He is Konoha's Jinchuriki. Konoha can cooperate in defense, but autonomy must be preserved. Kankuro laughed out loud. "We're nearly wiped out, and this old man is still fighting over property deeds." The Raikage roared. "Sarutobi, you're bargaining with the 9 tails." Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't look at the Raikage, his eyes locked on Uchiha Yoru. "If Naruto loses control, the 9 tails sample will surely fall into enemy hands. I'm reminding you." Uchiha Yoru twitched the corner of his mouth. "Reminding me." He tapped his finger, and the center of the ceiling tower emitted a blue light. One by one, files turned into images and appeared before the 5 Kage. The Fire Country's financial private accounts popped up. Then came the flow of Uchiha compensation funds. Finally, the approval documents for Root's live human experiments appeared. The images filled the air, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's face turned pale. Uchiha Yoru pointed at a line of text and asked, "Bargaining for autonomy with Naruto." Naruto Uzumaki living allowance actual disbursement less than 30% supervision conclusion maintain isolated environment for emotional control. On the other side of the feed, Kakashi turned to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Sakura covered her mouth. Inside the 9 tails space, the massive fox lay on the water and snorted. "Hear that, kid? They treat you like a dog in a cage." Sarutobi Hiruzen's lips trembled. "That That was to prevent the Ninetales from rampaging. Uchiha Yoru flipped to the second page. Uchiha clan assets post-massacre majority allocated to the daimyo's private treasury en route. Uchiha Yoru stared at him. Go on, keep making up stories. Silence fell around. The fourth Raikage shut his mouth. Inoki turned his head away. Sarutobi Hiruzen kept his head down, silent. Uchiha Yoru spoke. I don't have time to put out fires one by one. He drew a card and slammed it onto the dual disc. Activate trap card. Same name, same surname, alliance treaty. The card shattered, turning into terms that hung in the air. All Jinchuriki forcibly connected to the main base station. Samples uniformly encrypted. Wartime military authority fully vested in the Whirlpool country. Violators shall be judged as renegade units and immediately annihilated. The fourth Raikage twitched his mouth. Renegade units? That's way too overbearing. You can choose not to sign, said Uchiha Yoru. Killer BS screams came from the light curtain. A portion of the Eight Tails tentacle data had already been drained. Damn it! I'll sign. The fourth Raikage gritted his teeth and slammed his palm onto the image. Kumo signs. Inoki followed, pressing his fingerprint. IWA signs. Terumi May also completed her confirmation. Kiri signs on the Suna feed. Gaara stepped forward and knelt on one knee. Shikaka shut his mouth and muttered. I'm doing this for your sake. Suna signs. The others all turned to the remaining Sarutobi Hiruzen. In the Konoha tent, Naruto opened his eyes. The announcement of the bill echoed in his ears. Naruto didn't cry. He turned to look at the aged figure. Third Grandpa. Am I just a bargaining chip? Sarutobi Hiruzen froze in place, unable to make a sound. Atop the Whirlpool Country Tower, Hyuga Niji pointed at his own smooth forehead and spoke. Naruto, I used to think fate was predetermined. But after the cage was shattered, I realized no one else can decide for you. Naruto clenched his fists and turned to Uchiha Yoru. What should I do? Uchiha Yoru looked at him and replied. Live. Keep an eye on Kurama. Don't let Konoha make decisions for you anymore. Those words made Sarutobi Hiruzen finally abandon his resistance. Sarutobi Hiruzen's hand trembled as he pressed it onto the light curtain. Konoha signs 5 Great Shinobi Villages agreement reached. Shinobi World Unity level rises to 81. Boom. The ceiling tower's blue light shot straight into the sky. The contract rules turned into massive chains flying across the sea into the distance. The code frame on Shikaka shattered. The Eight Tails sampling channel also disconnected. Inside the Nine Tails space, the violet code was knocked out of the prison door by blue chains. Kurama swished his tail and grinned wide. This Uchiha brat's methods are far more ruthless than the old man's. Uchiha Yoru issued the order. All Jinchuriki transfer to the base station encryption sequence. He tossed 3 subcard slots to Hyuga Niji. Go to the Konoha ruins. Bring Naruto and Sasuke back. The moon wants the Ninetales and the Uchiha bloodline. These two are things Konoha cannot protect. Hyuga Niji took the card slots. Understood. Sasuke is also Konoha's. Sarutobi Hiruzen tried to argue. Uchiha Yoru turned to look at him. The Uchiha's affairs, since when do you have a say? Dark Bakura tossed a black card in his hand and chuckled. Choosing the Ninetales and Uchiha bloodline, the keyhole for this evil god's reforge is quite particular, isn't it? Uchiha Yoru glanced at Dark Bakura. You'd better not have hidden a spare key. Just as he finished, the monitor screen from the Konoha direction flickered. Hyuga Niji had just entered the Konoha ruins when the veins around his eyes bulged. Lord Yoru. Konoha is showing a residual image of the Six Paths Authority. The image expanded. Uchiha Sasuke stood at the corner of a wall, his Sharingan rotating rapidly. The curse mark on the back of his neck glowed deep red. Behind Uchiha Sasuke stood a moon-white faceless phantom. The phantom had no feet and held a six-path staff. The tip of the staff pressed against the back of Uchiha Sasuke's neck. An ancient hollow voice spread through the ruins. Indra vessel sampling begins. The temperature dropped to freezing point. White frost spread over the fire's shadow rock. Purple-black patterns surged from the ground toward the medical tent. Sasuke knelt among the rubble, his hands digging into the earth. Sasuke's eyes were bloodshot, and as the curse mark on his neck began to emerge, a forceful code pushed it back into his body. A figure in pale moonlight stood behind the youth, tapping a staff. System notification: Indra's bloodline synchronization in progress. Uchiha sample compatibility high. Sasuke! Sakura shouted loudly. Kakashi leaped in an instant, his Raikiri rushing towards the figure. The pale figure did not turn back. The staff rotated and a gray card frame lit up beneath Kakashi's feet. Raikiri was consumed by the card frame. Residual electric currents exploded, sending the Jonin flying several meters, blood seeping from the corner of his eye. Physical attacks ineffective. A chilling voice came forth. Neji fell into the ruins, his Byakugan gazing ahead. In the view of the Hyuga, Sasuke and Naruto were locked by the underlying code which connected all the way to the remnants beneath the ground. Neji did not call for help. Uchiha sought a handy tool. Low-level mental retrieval activate. Neji tapped the subcard slot and blue light flashed. The Byakugan projected reality. 3 data lines appeared, one latched onto Sasuke, another stabbed towards Naruto, and the last one burrowed into the ground beneath the Hokage tower. Neji spoke. A garbage program clinging to an outer shell dares to lock people here. Kiba and Shikamaru were left in a daze. Since following that man, Neji's speech contained incomprehensible vocabulary. The pale figure began to move, its faceless visage turning. The staff lifted and Sasuke was tugged into the air, a gray-white frame appearing on his skin. Sacrificial card transformation progress 17. The air wave dispersed beneath Neji's feet. 8 trigrams empty palm. The palm wind sliced towards the data line. The pale figure lifted the staff and the data line twisted to evade. Neji pinched a card with 2 fingers and slammed it into the subcard slot. Normal summon, rock giant. The ground shattered. The rock giant emerged from the earth, landing between Sasuke and the figure. The figure pointed the staff and a large hole appeared in the giant's chest. The stone body stood firm, not retreating an inch. Taking advantage of the gap, Neji approached the underground node. 8 trigrams 64 palms. His gentle fist struck the ground's patterns. The node shattered, halting the card transformation progress on Sasuke. Sacrificial card transformation interrupted. Sasuke crashed back to the ground, gasping as he looked at Neji. I don't need your help. The Byakugan youth did not turn to look at him. You can barely stand, put away this attitude. The formation changed. Naruto, lying in the tent, clutched his abdomen as the chakra of the Nine Tails spread. The pale figure turned towards the blonde youth. Assure of vessel detection complete. Nine Tails sample compatibility high. Main sacrificial target forcibly changed. Kakashi shouted. Its target is Naruto. The ground's card pattern surged towards the medical tent. The code constricted the seal within Naruto's body. Inside the ceiling space, the Nine Tails raised its fur, its claws slamming against the iron bars. Get out. I will not be a sacrifice. In reality, Naruto's eyes glowed red. A wicked god's card frame appeared in his gaze. Nine Tails. I can't move. Naruto clutched his stomach. The fox spirit voiced from within the iron cage. Don't mind me, tear this thing apart. As Naruto's palm reached for the code, Neji drew a sub-card and flung it into the air. Emergency protection protocol activate. A defensive barrier descended. The code collided with the barrier, producing static noise. Neji pressed his hands against the ground and the giant lifted a chunk of foundation, smashing it towards the Hokage Tower's underground node. The main chain broke halfway. The pale figure halted its movements. Warning. Low-level authority interference, excessive target danger level elevated. The pale figure turned. 6 phantoms of the seeking Dao Jade gathered behind it, locking onto Neji. Neji, get down. Kakashi shouted a warning. The Byakugan youth stared at the trajectory of the attack, slapping the card slot with his other hand. Defense summon rock giant. The giant stood in front, shattered by the seeking Dao Jade. The air current lifted Hinata Neji, crashing him against the broken wall, causing him to spit blood. Neji. Kiba glanced towards the broken wall. The youth wiped the blood from his face and stood up, the card slot flashing red. Rock giant sent to the graveyard. Enough stalling. Neji spoke, looking ahead. The staff was about to pierce through the barrier. A crack opened in the sky above Konoha. Uchiha stepped out of the passage. The man did not form hand seals. He raised his hand, flipping a card in midair. Activate magic card. Book of the Moon. Set it face down. A white light fell. The interference within him was rendered ineffective by this card. The card frame in Naruto's eyes extinguished, and he collapsed to the ground, falling into a deep sleep. In the ceiling space, the Nine Tails was pressed against the water surface, closing its eyes. Damn. This card again. Uchiha's finger traced across the dual disc. Special summon, Blue Eyes Double Burst Dragon. The two-headed giant dragon appeared, the winds from its wings shattering nearby card frames. The pale figure raised the staff. 6 paths will execution in progress. Outsiders are not allowed. Cache files dare to pose as administrators in front of me. Uchiha glanced down. The double burst dragon opened its mouth, 2 beams of flame aimed at the ground formation. The formation shattered. Cracks appeared on the authority shell surrounding the pale figure. The figure lifted the staff connecting to the lunar fissure. The massive eye in the sky turned its beam, penetrating the atmosphere, descending towards Uchiha. The black-haired man slapped a face-down card onto the dual disc. Reveal the face-down card, Holy Shield Reflective Force. A light barrier unfolded before him. The purple light collided with the barrier, transforming into a thicker beam that rebounded back. The pale figure was struck by the reflected beam. The sound of data collapse echoed, and the figure's body began to disintegrate from the chest. Niji approached the man, clutching his shoulder. Lord Yi, 2 nodes have been sealed off. The remaining main chain is within its body. Uchiha glanced at his bleeding arm. Well done. Niji straightened his posture. The collapsing figure's face twisted, producing intermittent sounds. Plan loading. Totem sacrifice system. External tampering defense layer. Constructing altar. Tailed beasts as energy Indra and Ashura. As sacrificial offerings. The projection of Anmorio originally observed this battle. Upon hearing this, the white-haired youth retracted his smile. Uchiha caught his subtle expression and looked over. Are you familiar with him? Anmorio spread his hands. There is more than one genuine player. I know this sounds very fake, but it is true. The pale figure emitted static. Wicked God. Altar entrance. The Blue Eyes Double Burst Dragon stepped down with a claw. The figure disintegrated into data dust. System notification: 6 paths phantom program erased. Uchiha sample Ninetales sample protection successful. The suppression lifted and Sasuke regained control of his body. The black-haired youth stood up, looking at Uchiha in the sky. Are you here to make me a sacrifice too? Uchiha replied. If you stay here, you will eventually be turned into a card by someone else. I will not be someone else's goods. Sasuke bit his lip. Then climb up yourself. Uchiha tossed a sub-card slot at his feet. Sasuke stared at the card slot, his palm clenched tightly. Naruto awakened from the card's effect, rubbing his head as he sat up. Why did I fall asleep again? Why do I keep getting knocked down by this card? Uchiha looked at the blonde youth. Because it's useful. Naruto remained silent. The projection of Sarutobi Hiruzen flashed at the edge of the ruins, his voice deep. Naruto. Stay. Naruto remained motionless. He gazed at the old man, speaking calmly. Old man of the 3rd Hokage. Going to the land of Whirlpool was my own decision, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. Yes. Naruto fastened the sub-card slot around his wrist. Then I will board the ship. Sasuke picked up the card slot at his feet. I will go too. I want to know the truth. Uchiha walked towards the passage. Once you're on my ship, if you dare to hold me back, I will kill you. From the data ashes, an object rolled out. It was a black die. 6 faces engraved with closed eyes. The die stopped at Anmorio's feet. A crack opened in the die, and light and shadow locked onto the white-haired youth. Uchiha paused, turning back. Anmorio. Anmorio raised his head. His lips pressed flat, and his expression slightly changed. It seems something doesn't want me to stay in the foreign sea. Crack. The black dice exploded. The dark mist shrouded the ruins of Mai. The phantom of a pitch-black altar crashed down from the sky. In the center of the altar, 3 blurry card silhouettes appeared. On the back of each card was a red evil god's eye. The shadows on the surrounding debris began to writhe. You stepped back half a step. This thing doesn't even spare the foundation. Lu Wan broke out in a cold sweat. This piece of land in Mai is now a target. And Moyang stood before the altar projection, the black card in his palm automatically flipping over. And Moyang withdrew his smile, his face darkening. The entrance to the altar of the dark evil god. I need to connect to it to find the door. You never mentioned this before. Yuzhibo stared at Moyang. If I had told you, would you have let me live? And Moyang grinned, spreading his hands. You give me the coordinates of the 3 phantom gods and it'll give you the altar entrance. The screen of the Wigwa base station cut in and showed just projection directly cursed. Bullshit. You're carrying the evil god's tracker and still dare to approach the main city. Ken Jiolong shouted. You come with a bomb and still want to negotiate. Ning's eyes bulged with veins, activating his Byakugan to look over. Lord Yi, you cannot give it. And Moliang's energy circuit is the same as the altars. I don't want to become food and you don't want your main control board dismantled. And Moliang stared at Yi. Only cooperation leads to survival. The three phantom gods will not protect humans. Inside the ceiling tower of Wigwa, a situation occurred. The three god cards began to vibrate. The back of Osiris card emitted red lightning. The sun god ignited golden flames. An obelisk caused the ground to tremble. The gods sensed the provocation. Yuzhibo Yi slapped the dual disc. The three forces were pressed back into the card slots, and Yes' right arm was numbed by the shock. And Moliang lowered his voice. See. When the evil god descends they may not obey you. Yi ignored and Moliang. A translucent panel in front of him popped up, a red warning window. God authority taming mission triggered. Current objective: suppress the divine instinct without using any god card. And Moliang raised the black dice and the dark mist formed a dual circle on the ruined ground. Work with me or wait for the evil god to revive. Dark game forcibly started. Base logic locked. Violators will be eliminated. You don't step in. Mingren shouted. Suizhu gripped his Kusanagi sword, his palms sweating. Can that circle stop him? Yuzhibo Yi raised his left arm, and the dual disc emitted a blue light. The data stream of the Wigwa main base station descended across the sea. The blue system code directly broke the boundary of the dark game. Yi looked at Moliang below. In my main server, a pirated account like you has no right to set rules. Administrator high privilege access. Dark game base code has been overwritten. Temporary dual field generated. Two sets of rules collided above the ruins. You dare to snatch my home field. And Moliang raised his deck emitting black aura. Yes, fingertips slid across the card drawing a hand card. Let's talk. My turn, draw. The dual field closed and the dark mist pushed aside Ming Ren and other spectators. Ning Xi looked at the field. Lord Yi hasn't summoned the three phantom gods. It's a system task, Kakaxi said, gripping a kunai. And also to warn the gods above. Inside the dual field, and Moliang launched an attack. Activate magic card Dark Designator. The dark mist turned into a hand and grabbed the shadow of the blue-eyed twin burst dragon. The twin-headed white dragon roared, its wings pinned in place. Activate continuous magic Dark Toll. And Moliang played the second black card. Dark type erosion in effect. Each time a card is activated, 300 LP is forcibly deducted. Ken Jiolong cursed in the communication. This guy is playing dirty. He expressionlessly said. Activate magic card Cyclone. LP forcibly deducted 300. A hurricane appeared out of nowhere, turning into wind blades that shattered the phantom of Dark Toll. Yi backhandedly set a card. Set one card and turn. And Moliang stepped back half a step. Another set card. You probably only know how to set Mirror Force. No prize, Yi said. And Moliang drew the third black card. Special summoned Shadow Puppet. 3 shadowy figures emerged from the ground, passed through physical defenses, and flew toward Yuzhibo Yi. Ning's expression changed. No entity judgment. That's direct mental damage. See how your mirror force blocks mental attacks. And Moliang laughed out loud. He raised his hand. Activate set card Mirror Force. 2 purple metal cylinders appeared. The base code was rewritten by administrator privileges. The 3 shadow puppets crashed into the cylinder openings, turning into thicker black beams that rebounded along the original path. With a roar, the beam struck on Moliang's chest. And Moliang flew backwards, spitting a mouthful of black blood. And Moliang's LP greatly decreased. And Moliang climbed up from the ground. Modifying dark attribute damage rebound, your base code is unreasonable. I told you testing my people comes with a fee. He raised his hand. The restraint was released. The blue-eyed twin burst dragon raised its twin heads, flames gathering in its mouths. And Moliang threw out a card. Quick play magic dark curtain transfer. The dark mist gathered, ready to take Moliang into another space. Yes, finger pointed. Chain activate forbidden chalice. The golden chalice phantom crashed down, its radiance clearing the magic fluctuations on Moliang. The escape skill failed. And Moliang's eyes widened. You even prepared this kind of interruption card. A rumbling sound and the flames crashed down. A charred gully appeared on the ground of the Mai ruins and Moliang crashed into the rubble. Outside the field, Mingren swallowed hard. This is even more unreasonable than ninjutsu. Kid learned from this, said the Ninetales inside him. Now it's about the ability to modify the laws of the world. Chakra is outdated. Inside the field, Moliang laughed while spitting blood. Yuzebo, your style is made for the dark game. Yi flicked the dust off his trench coat. Don't try to get close. First stage objective achieved. God authority taming progress updated suppress Osiris automatic counterattack instinct. As soon as the prompt sound faded, red lightning appeared in the distant sky. Before Yi could order the slide for the sky dragon and the dual disc flipped open on its own. The red lightning followed the base station channel, turning into a lightning pillar that struck down toward Moliang's head. Moliang dodged backward. This wasn't my setup. Ning Xiai shouted. Lord Yi, the sky dragon is out of control. The red lightning was about to fall on Moliang's head. Yuzebo Yi took a step forward, walking into the center of the lightning. Yuzebo Yi raised his right hand and pressed down on the Berserk Sky Dragon card on the dual disc. A crackling sound. The red lightning stopped midair, exploding between his fingers. The smell of burnt flesh wafted out. The pressure of the three phantom gods radiated, increasing the gravity of the Mai ruins. Ming Ren's knees buckled and he knelt in the muddy water. Suizhu clenched his teeth, blood trickling from his nose under the pressure. Moliang stood directly beneath the lightning, watching Yes' scorched and bleeding hand. You dared to catch this power with your bare hands. Warning. Osiris counterattack instinct triggered. HP draining. The system red frame flashed, but he did not look at the panel. Yuzebo Yi lifted his head against the pressure, looking at the red dragon in the card. I haven't allowed you to move yet. The sky dragon roared and the lightning surged forward. On the distant evil god altar, 3 red single eyes lit up. Yi ignored the altar, exerting force with his palm to slam the Berserk God card back into its slot. The dual disc cracked open. Yuzebo Yi's voice rang out. Once you enter my deck, you must obey my rules. Without my permission, even gods must listen to me. Crimson thunderbolts halted above the ruins of Konoha. A dragon's shadow pressed down through the clouds, its gaze fixed upon Moliang below. The entire ninja world's screens flickered with red light. Warning: Osiris has overridden the host's commands. Automatic counterattack instincts are out of control. Forcibly suppressing will cause permanent LP damage. This broken dragon wants to rebel. Kenjulang's face turned pale. Shojiu slapped the back of Kenjulang's head with her fan. Shut up, no one wants to hear your last words. Among the ruins, Ningxi activated his Byakugan, and was about to form seals when he was stopped by the cold gaze of Yuzebo Yi, freezing in place. Stand down. This is my deck. Yuzebo Yi pressed his palm onto the blood-stained dual disc, his blackened flesh torn apart by the lightning. No one interferes. Moliang stood directly beneath the red thunder, wiped a streak of black blood and laughed. See. Even the 3 phantom gods are monsters at heart. You think you hold a trump card, but it's really a death warrant in your hand. Yuzebo Yi didn't even turn his head. Say one more word and I'll feed you to the monster first. The sky dragon roared. Red thunder crashed down, splitting the ground of Konoha, turning rubble into dust. Mingren was thrown back by the shockwave, skidding across the ground. Kurama, is this thing really a card? Inside the sealed space, the Ninetales tucked its tail. Shut up, I don't want to comment on such a monster right now. Suizhu activated his 3-Demo Sharingan, blood trickling from the corners of his eyes as he stared ahead. Suizhu saw for the first time Yuzebo Yi resisting a card. A card called a god. Activate spell card, Light of the Sealed Sword. Yuzebo Yi raised his left hand and 3 swords of light descended from the sky, slamming heavily into the red thunder. Osiris paused midair, its body writhing back and forth. Light of the Sealed Sword activated. God card resistance reduction 27 seconds. Moliang narrowed his eyes. Using a normal spell card to suppress a phantom god. You really dare to play? This isn't suppression. Yuzebo Yi slapped down a second card. It's education. Activate spell card, Sealed Gold Sarcophagus. A golden doorframe opened and the lightning biting into the attack judgment of the sky dragon. Anomaly detected. Dark Evil God Field. Disguise command threat elimination. True purpose induced the god card to overstep kill and Molyang forcibly shut down the lunar altar. System red frames flooded the screen. Yuzhibo Yi curled the corner of his mouth. So that's it. It's not trying to kill you. Yuzhibo Yi faced the red thunder, his fingers piercing the virtual projection of the card. It wants to use my hand to completely sever the entrance to the moon. And Molyang's brows tightened. That bastard Toosi made me a pawn too. A man should have principles, but you clearly can't expect others to honor theirs. Kanjialang shrank his neck in the communicator. Does he have a misunderstanding of the word principles? You're the one misunderstanding by discussing it with him. Shiju spoke up. Red thunder flared again as Osiris snapped one of the light swords. The system blared a warning: LP drop 800069004700. Yuzhibo Yi's right arm split open, golden card patterns emerging from the wound, stitching the skin together. He stood his ground, staring straight at the divine dragon above. Get out here! Yuzhibo Yi's 5 fingers clenched, pulling a clump of purple-black corrupted code from the card face of Osiris. A sharp sound echoed from the lightning. And Molyang stepped back half a pace. Echo of the evil god. Yuzhibo Yi crushed the virus fragment in his hand. Stealing my deck and daring to command my god with it. Bang. The purple-black field was shattered and the red thunder ceased. The sky dragon stared at Yuzhibo Yi, snorting thick steam, its neck twisting backward. Yuzhibo Yi wiped the black blood from his hand and looked up. Return. Osiris hung in midair. Every communication channel in the ninja world fell silent, everyone holding their breath. The fourth Raikage rubbed his eyes. He is commanding a god. Anoki's teacup cracked into pieces. Correction, he's disciplining his own unruly summon beast. Terumi Mei swallowed hard. You call that a summon beast? 3 seconds passed and Osiris lowered its head. The red thunder dissipated and the dragon's shadow turned into a crimson light that plunged back into the dual disc. God's authority taming complete. Partial permissions of Osiris unlocked. Thunderbolt can now be cast at low level. System can recognize divine might suppression. Progress of the creator of Light 8. After the prompt appeared, the 5 Kage understood one thing: Yuzhibo Yi was treating the god like a dog. And Molyang looked at Yuzhibo Yi's still smoking arms, sweat beading on his forehead. I'm a bit glad I didn't run just now. Yuzhibo Yi glanced at Molyang. Even if you ran, I'd just use magic cylinder to send you back. And Molyang curled his lip. This kind of conversation makes it hard to have friends. I don't lack friends. Yuzhibo Yi turned and walked toward the spatial passage. I only lack obedient tools. Ningxi bowed his head. Lord Yi, Mingren and Zhuizhu have been connected to the protection protocol. Mingren raised his hand. Does that tool include me? Kanjia Lang chimed in. Don't ask, asking will hurt your feelings. Mingren looked at Zhuizhu, who turned away. Don't look at me, I just boarded this ship of thieves too. Yuzhibo Yi ignored them, lifting his gaze to the moon. The cracked eye on the lunar surface was rotating, emitting a purple glow. And Molyang's face turned pale as he stared at the sky. Too late. Yuzhibo Yi stopped. And Molyang pointed at the crack in the moon, his hand trembling. The shadow of the second evil god has already awakened. The cracks on the moon's surface widened. A purple-black shadow spilled out from the fissures. This mass of darkness obscured half the lunar surface. The outline of a second evil god emerged. That monster had no physical torso. Floating in the air was a reverse card with a single eye growing from its center, its black border pulsating incessantly. Alarms blared across the Whirlpool country's main base station. Lunar surface passage stabilization countdown 120000. Pseudo-God Legion deployment targets capitals of the 5 great nations, core areas of each ninja village. Mandatory recommendation: immediately establish an outer space counterattack platform. Kankuro stared at the screen, cold sweat beading on his forehead. Build a moon ship in 12 hours. System, you're more demanding than my teacher. Stop talking nonsense and get to work. Uchiha Yoru walked from the ruins of Konoha to the engineering zone. The sealed golden card patterns on Uchiha Yoru's right arm still pulsed beneath the skin, but he did not frown. The coastline was piled with supplies sent by the 5 great ninja villages. Iwagakure had transported sealing stones. Kumogakure had set up chakra cannons. Kirigakure had constructed a water pressure array, and Sunagakure had provided sand gold. Only Konoha had sent a heap of old scrolls and scrap iron along with a few boxes of copper coins. Kankuro kicked over Konoha's supply crate. The copper coins scattered on the ground. What does Konoha mean by this? Kankuro sneered. Do they expect us to throw copper coins at the moon? On the communication channel, the projection of Sarutobi Hiruzen flickered twice, his cheek muscles twitching. Ahem, the inventory of the Land of Fire is in chaos. After the war, I'm still sorting it out. Uchiha Yoru lifted his eyes to the screen. Send another pile of junk and I'll personally come to sort out your Konoha. Yoru turned off the projection. His movements were swift. Subplot access. Kankuro put on his goggles and slapped down 3 cards. Normal summon, red, yellow, and blue gears. 3 beams of mechanical light landed on the ground. Then activate the continuous spell, Mechanical Modification Factory. A gray-blue factory phantom appeared above the harbor. Mechanical arms rose, grabbed the heavy ceiling stones and packed them into the framework. The Awagakure craftsman had just paused for a breath when the red gear turned and locked onto him. Kankuro raised a wrench. Don't play dead. The ceiling stone is off by 3 inches. Do you Awagakure builders rely entirely on willpower? A Kumogakure technician nearby laughed. Kankuro turned his head. What are you laughing at? That cannon of yours is pointed at the Raikage's projection. Are you planning to send your own village chief into the sky first? The 4th Raikage's face darkened. Darui broke into a sweat and quickly adjusted the cannon's aim. Madare Tamari waved her fan. Activate the spell card, Whirlwind. The storm cut through the airflow, channeling the sea breeze into the propulsion array at the base. The 3rd energy line on the port side is overloading. Niji stood beside the core hub, veins bulging at the corners of his eyes as he pointed at the interface. Sunigakure sector compact the sand gold. Gaara pressed his fingers down, and the sand gold secured the ship's hull interface. Shikaku inside him spoke up. This old man is a tailed beast, and now I'm being forced to plaster the ship. Is your ninja world insane? This is still better than being drained dry by the moon, Gaara replied. Shikaku shut up. On the other side, Naruto ran carrying a steel beam. Sasuke, don't slack off. Sasuke's face stiffened. Shut up, dead last. The one you're carrying is hollow. Naruto touched it and widened his eyes. Kankuro, you're playing favorites. Talk more and I'll weld you 2 onto the ship's nose as windshield wipers. Kankuro replied casually. Countdown 8 hours. The moon base platform had taken shape. The outer shell was covered with card circuits, and the base station's light pillar connected to the ley lines, drawing chakra from them. Yoru's chest, where the 3 Egyptian god card slots were, began to vibrate. Obelisk the Tormentor, triggered Guardian Instinct. Warning: the war platform is drawing too much from the ley lines. Divine Judgment determines it as a world-ending threat. A loud crash. The sky split open. A massive blue hand slammed down from above. The deck sank and steel beams groaned with metallic friction. Ninjas in the engineering zone fell to the ground. Kankuro grabbed a pillar and shouted, Are the god cards going on strike today? Niji drew a kunai. Lord Yoru used the authority of the Sky Dragon to suppress it. No need. Uchiha Yoru locked Osiris' card slot. He looked up at the blue hand above and quirked the corner of his mouth. I just dealt with the dragon, and now I'm supposed to use the dragon to suppress the god. It probably thinks I have no other tricks. He pinched 2 cards between his fingers and slapped them into the dual disc. If it won't obey, you'll beat it until it does. Special summon, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Equip spell, Megamorph. White light blazed. Because Yoru's LP was currently below the divine suppression threshold, Megamorph activated unconditionally. The enlarged Blue Eyes White Dragon soared into the sky. The dragon's head opened its mouth and charged into the palm of the tormentor. With a thunderous impact, the collision between Obelisk and the white dragon sent a shockwave that flattened the coast of the Whirlpool country. The blue hand paused for a second, then clenched its fingers. Muscles bulged on Obelisk's arm as it punched toward the ship's core reactor. It's aiming for the energy pool, Niji shouted. Uchiha Yoru stood in front of the reactor core, not backing away. It's trying to disperse the overloaded energy. The blue fist approached. Yoru flipped open his face-down card. Trap card, Dimension Wall. Space twisted. The Tormentor's fist slammed into the dimension wall, and all its power was channeled into the core reactor. The ley line energy was compressed by Obelisk's attack. Energy infusion 317,498. The dual disc emitted an alarm. LP drop 42003300. The card patterns on Yoru's right arm which had healed seeped blood, but Uchiha Yoru did not move. The tormentor's arm halted and its guardian judgment rose. Yoru revealed his hand. Quick play spell, shrink. A green light shot out, striking the overloaded expanding energy sphere inside the core reactor. The green light flashed and the chakra contracted into a stable orb of light. The overload was dispelled and the world-ending judgment vanished. The tormentor's arm stopped in midair. The blue hand retreated into the spatial rift. The system's red light turned green. Divine Subjugation 2 completed. Obelisk's partial authority unlocked. Moon War platform charging complete 100. Silence fell. No one spoke in the harbor. Kankuro sat on the deck and swallowed. So, the tormentor threw a punch and ended up becoming Lord Yoru's energy source. Temari wiped the sweat from her face. This time we didn't lose out. Naruto looked at the core reactor. Isn't it a bit pitiful for the god cards to follow Yorunii? Sasuke glanced over. You'd better fasten your seatbelt first, or you'll get thrown off when we break through the atmosphere. Countdown 3 hours. The moon platform was sealed. The full array of seals were released, entering the ignition preparation phase. The slit eye on the moon's surface snapped open. Whoosh! A black beam shot down from the lunar surface. It pierced the Whirlpool country's defenses. The beam, relying on its sheer energy intensity, cut through the base station's barrier and sliced through the defensive formation. Boom! A dull thud. The black beam struck the center of the ship's bridge. It was a war letter with black paper and red characters. The letter unfolded automatically. There were no other words on the paper. Only the signature at the bottom, TOS. The black challenge letter hovered above the ceiling tower. Without wind, it turned open automatically. A faceless 6 paths projection manifested in the sky, holding a tin staff with 3 blurred card silhouettes behind it. As the projection spoke, the global ninja communication channel was hijacked. Uchiha Yoru. I am Thoth, the main consciousness of the 6 Paths project. Bring the 3 god cards to the moon and enter the altar for a duel. Otherwise, every hour a random capital will be formatted. The screen flickered and the scene cut away. Several small countries' towns were already marked with purple-black symbols. Civilians fled through the streets, and the ninja defense barriers shattered into dust the moment they touched the marks. Naruto's eyes darkened. Is it for real? Targeting ordinary people. In the channel, the 4th Raikage slammed the table. Yoru. Launch the lunar ship immediately and save people first. Anoki's voice tightened. If the capital is formatted, the order of the 5 great nations will be completely destroyed. Terumi May stared at the challenge letter. It's using a blatant scheme to force you into the trap. Atop the ceiling tower, Uchiha Yoru listened to the voices in the channel and curled his lips. It's just a preloaded intimidation. Everyone froze. Niji activated his Byakugan, scanning the marks through the base station circuit. Lord Yoru is right. Only edge locking and image loading. The marks haven't landed yet. From the shadows, Dark Bakura emerged with a sneer. The essence of this challenge letter is a shadow game invitation. If you don't take the 3 god cards to the moon, its altar can never be completed. Naruto grew anxious. Then what if we don't go? Won't those marks become real? Dark Bakura spread his hands. Exactly. If you go, it eats the main course. If you don't, it snacks on the world. Silence fell and all eyes turned to the tower top. Uchiha Yoru turned around. I'll go. Naruto barely exhaled in relief when Yoru's next words stunned him. But not because its threat worked. Uchiha Yoru raised his right hand, gripping the black challenge letter. I refuse to let anyone stake lives, villages, or the future on a card table with me. Not Konoha, not the 5 Kage, and certainly not some evil god. Naruto's mouth hung open, frozen. Inside him, Kurama sneered. Stupid brat, don't you get it? He's not going to compromise and save people. He's going to crash the party. Sasuke snapped his head up, staring at Yoru. You're taking me to the moon. You're not qualified. Yoru replied instantly. Sasuke's face darkened. Then Yoru shifted his tone. But you'll board the ship. The lunar altar needs an Indra sample. Staying on the ground would only make you more troublesome. So I'm bait. Sasuke gritted his teeth. No, you're a fragile priority cargo. Yoru corrected. Naruto barely stifled a laugh. A change occurred. The black challenge letter in Uchiha Yoru's hand ignited its aura, stirring the third god card inside the ceiling tower. With a resonating hum, the dual disc vibrated and the card of the winged dragon of Ra burst forth with golden flames. The outer defenses of the ceiling tower were pierced through 3 layers in an instant. The system flashed red. Warning: the winged dragon of Ra has sensed the evil god's challenge letter. Divine punishment instinct forcibly activated. Requirement: host chant the true name of the god and sacrifice life to execute divine punishment. Heaven scorching flames dispelled the black mist within the letter. The heat wave forced nearby ninjas to retreat. Kankuro ran away clutching his toolbox. Damn it! Third one today. Are all 3 god cards going through a rebellious phase? Temari grabbed his collar. Run! Run where? The core valve isn't locked yet. If you don't lock it, the ship will fall apart on takeoff. At the center of the sea of fire, a passage formed, golden incantations pressing down on Uchiha Yoru. Dark Bakura's expression changed. Damn. Ra is the most stubborn. If you don't chant the true name, it will definitely turn on its host. True name. Uchiha Yoru scoffed, extended his right hand, and crushed the first segment of the true name passage. The flames surged back. Life points decreased 3,300, 3,100. Warning: divine fire punishment initiated. 2 layers of the rule barrier around Yoru burned through instantly. The edge of his coat turned to ash, and the freshly healed card marks on his right arm split open, showing blood. Niji's eyes widened as he was about to rush forward, but Uchiha Yoru didn't look back. Stand still. Niji froze in place, cold sweat dripping. The firelight illuminated Uchiha Yoru's face. With his left hand he drew a card from the top of his deck and slapped it into the dual disc. Are you teaching me how to do things? Activate trap card. Same name, same treaty alliance. A blank contract unfolded in the void and card marks surged from Yoru's palm, overlaying the divine text of Ra. The system light turned from red to green. Forced rewriting in progress. Target the winged dragon of Ra's activation conditions. Ra let out a screech, its flames lunging at Yoru. Uchiha Yoru stood firm against the flames. No incantation needed. The first clause entered the card. No permission needed. The second clause sank into the core. When I say activate, you activate. A golden light burst from the contract, coursing through Ra's card. The retaliatory flames weakened and retreated back into the card. Uchiha Yoru grabbed the still burning black challenge letter with his backhand and pressed it into the remaining flames. Since you want to unleash divine punishment, then get to work first. The black paper shattered. The moon's disguise was burned away, exposing the hidden coordinates. A purple-black path appeared on the screen. This path connected to the altar entrance where a decoy army was placed. The holographic image displayed on the base station screen. Niji quickly operated. Coordinates locked. Behind the cracked eye there are 3 overlapping dual arenas. Dark Bakura stared at the screen, his eyelids twitching. Ta threw the door wide open. This is a blatant invitation to be trapped. Uchiha Yoru dropped the ashes from his hand. I'm not going to keep an appointment. The challenge letter fragments were consumed by the flames and Yoru's voice reached every channel. I'm going to physically unplug the network cable. System notification: divine authority taming 3 completed. First phase of the exclusive activation mission for the 3 god cards completed. Divine card free use permission unlocked to 30. The 3 god cards glowed faintly in the dual disc. The conflict among the cards ceased. Under the administrator's control, they obeyed the same rule. In the 5 Kage channel, the sound of gulping was audible. The 4th Raikage's voice was completely subdued. Moon operation, the entire cloud forces obey your command. Anoki conceded. Stone follows. Protect the Earth's bottom line. Uchiha Yoru's gaze swept across the 5 Kage holograms. Cooperation isn't shouted. After the lunar ship takes off, all sub-towers maintain highest alert. Whoever messes up will come back and format them first. On the deck below, Kankuro pulled the control lever. Ignition valve locked. Propulsion array ready. If anyone tries to stuff charms or copper coins into the ship again, he'll stuff them into the main cannon and fire them out. Naruto held onto the railing, staring at the massive moon overhead. Sasuke, are your legs shaking? Sasuke's face was cold. If you wet your pants, get off. The lunar war platform ignited. The exhaust flames illuminated the sea of the land of whirlpools, and the card back pattern on the ship's hull unfurled. Uchiha Yoru stood at the bow, the wind billowing his black coat. In the shadows, Dark Bakura held a black card between his fingers, feeling its tremor. He stared at Yoru's back and smiled. You tamed the divine authority. But on the evil god's table, the most exquisite delicacy is the soul of the tamer. High above, the moon's giant cracked eye opened wide. Boom! The lunar module burst through the clouds, entering the starry sky. The card patterns on the hull flickered and the tail flame left the ninja world behind. Naruto pressed his face against the observation window, mouth open. Sasuke. The place we live in is a ball. Sasuke stared at the arc of the ocean outside the window, saying nothing. He used to think Konoha was the whole world, but now it looked so small. The contrast made him clench his fists. At the control console, Kankuro grabbed his safety belt and shouted, "Who dares say puppet masters can't reach the sky now?" Temari, carrying her iron fan, turned pale. There's no wind in a vacuum. So now you're just a decoration. Before Kankuro could finish, he and his chair took a kick. At the bow, Uchiha Yoru stood with one hand in his pocket behind the barrier. The card patterns extending from Yoru's right arm bore scorch marks, his gaze icy. Ahead, the moon drew closer. A purple-black fissure stretched across the lunar surface, stone rings and dried-tailed beast shells revolving around the crack. 372 altar nodes on the lunar surface, all connected to the fissure. Niji's temples bulged with veins as he activated the Byakugan. Gaara raised his hand, the gold sand stabilizing the defensive array. Shikaku is trembling. Bullshit, Shikaku said loudly. This old man calls it strategic over-defensiveness. Naruto patted his stomach. Kurama, what about you? The Nine-Tails snorted. This old man suggests you write your will now. Dark Bakura twirled the black card between his fingers and dropped his smile. TOS has put all his cards on the table. Uchiha Yoru didn't look back. Who are these cards aimed at? You and me. Dark Bakura shrugged. Yoru curled his lips and unfolded his dual disc. Then we'll send them back. Alarms blared. Pirate Divine Power detected, fake obelisk Osiris and RA have gone online. The space debris ahead scattered. 3 fake card projections rose up. They were a headless red serpent, a stitched blue hand, and a purple fire golden dragon. Behind them, a swarm of faceless ninja fakes pressed forward. Uchiha Yoru, welcome to the altar. Toss voice cut into the ship's channel. A faceless statue embedded in the lunar crust appeared and spoke. Hand over the server authority and the ninja world can keep 30% of its population sample. Naruto slammed his fist against the wall. What does it take human lives for? For code samples. You expect it to talk about human rights? Dark Bakura sneered. Uchiha Yoru raised his dual disc and stared ahead. 30%. He rested his fingers on the deck. It'll give you 3 seconds. The fake god card behind TOS lit up. 3. My turn. Yoru drew the top card. 2. The dual disc slot opened. 1. Yoru slammed down the card. Normal summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. A flash of white light. The Blue Eyes White Dragon spread its wings and charged into the fake card formation. A low-level monster, TOS said. Yoru slapped down a second card. Spell card Megamorph. The Blue Eyes White Dragon grew 10 times larger and destroyed a fake card altar with one claw. Sparks flew. Kankuro yelled. Nice shot. Toss giant statue raised its staff. Fake god army, execute contamination. The 3 fake gods attacked. Black lightning, a heavy fist, and purple fire bypassed the Blue Eyes White Dragon, striking the bow slot. Its target is the divine power slot, Niji shouted. Uchiha Yoru pressed his palm against the dual disc. Open free access to the 3 Egyptian gods. Dark Bakura yelled. Don't release them all at Ankh. But Yoru had already drawn the first god card. Osiris. No incantation, no true name chanted. Red lightning split the sky and the sky dragon spit out a thunder force that swept everything away. The fake cards didn't even trigger a judgment, their ATK dropped to 0, and they shattered. Yoru drew the second card. Obelisk. The god's fist swung an uppercut, punching through the chest of the fake giant god soldier. Pieces flew everywhere. Gaara extended both arms and yellow sand surged from under the ship, supporting the barrier. Uchiha Yoru drew a trap card with his left hand and placed it in the spell trap zone. Trap card Mirror Force. A mirror surface spread out before the bow. Black lightning and purple fire struck the mirror, then rebounded with double the force. A single blast destroyed hundreds of fake cards. Quick play spell Mystical Space Typhoon. Temari swung her iron fan and wind blade severed the enemy's data chain. Main cannon valves fully open. Kankuro pulled the control lever and a beam of light fired. Yora pointed forward. Osiris clears the Mook's obelisk, destroys the structures. Red lightning fell and the god's fist swung. 37 altars were destroyed. Toss faceless giant staggered backward, crushing large sections of the lunar crust. Anomaly warning. The authentic divine powers are obeying a human, violating the underlying rules. Uchiha Yoru looked ahead. A mere gatekeeper program dares to lecture me about rules. TOS raised both hands and the giant's chest split open, revealing a purple-black core that swallowed the 3 fake cards. The massive body collapsed inward, preparing to flee. Yoru flicked his wrist. Sealed golden chest. Golden light flashed, and a huge chest slammed down in the vacuum, sealing the core space. The backflow of data stopped. Yoru stepped out onto the deck. The barrier cracked and Niji shouted, "Lord Yoru, the vacuum will guard the ship." Uchiha Yoru's boots stepped on the card pattern texture, ignoring the health-draining alarm. He walked through the pressure loss to the golden chest. Yoru slapped a hand on the chest lid. "Get out!" Toss' voice still came from inside. "You cannot destroy the altar. You are merely a sacrifice." Yoru drew the suppressed third god. "Did I give you permission to speak?" The flames of the sun god rose and Yoru pressed the card against the chest lid. "Burn!" Golden flames poured into the chest through the gaps. The core emitted a sound and the outer shell burned to ash. Toss' voice echoed. "You think? In the main brain." The purple-black core exploded, turning into 3 black threads. The threads pierced the high temperature and shot toward the god cards in Yoru's hand. The black threads moved with incredible speed, vanishing directly into the cards. The 3 Egyptian god cards began to vibrate. The system's red light flashed and alarms spread through the ship. Warning. The dark evil god altar has stolen the data of the simultaneous summoning of the 3 Egyptian gods. The 6 paths plan enters its final phase. Target determination: sacrifice the simultaneous summoning of the 3 Egyptian gods to awaken the evil god itself. The eye patterns on the entire inner side of the moon lit up. The fissure running across the moon widened, revealing a giant eye. Dark Bakura stepped back. It wasn't after the god cards at all. Dark Bakura stared at the dual disc on Yoru's wrist. It wanted your action of summoning the 3 gods simultaneously. In the vacuum. Uchiha Yoru looked at the god cards tangled with black threads, his life value steadily draining. Yoru's face remained expressionless. Click. The dual disc slot locked, and red text appeared in his sight. Force Shadow Game initiated. Stake this round Uchiha Yoru's soul. Additional stake: unlock permission for the light of creation god. From the depths of the moon's giant eye a whisper emerged. Duelist. It's my turn to draw. Boom. Violet-black ripples tore through the vacuum. The outer defense patterns of the lunar modules shut down completely. Clang. A piercing metallic sound exploded. Black chains pierced through the void, wrapping around Uchiha Yoru's wrists and ankles, also immobilizing the dual disc. The recoil force knocked the spaceship back several kilometers. Uchiha Yoru was dragged out of the cabin and pulled into the vacuum duel arena in the center of the lunar rift. Yoru. Naruto's eyes reddened as he lunged toward the hatch. Sasuke grabbed Naruto's nape, staring at the figure outside the cabin, grinding his teeth. Shut up. If I were out there, I'd find you annoying too. This chain defies physics. Kankuro slammed his fist on the flashing red console. System warnings kept popping up on everyone's retina. Force Dark Game established. Field sealed. Both parties' wager confirmed Uchiha Yoru's soul. Additional wager: Light of Creation God unlock permission. Warning: the 3 god card slots have been forcibly locked by a dark Trojan virus. Uchiha Yoru looked down. 3 black lines with garbled code were nailed onto the 3 divine cards. The card faces kept vibrating, unable to eject. Deep in the rift, an Otsutsuki avatar rose, wrapped in broken card shadows. Authentic duelist, you've finally fallen into the trap. The evil god projection looked down from above, its voice booming. Uchiha Yoru bound twisted his wrists, causing the chains to clink. Are all you pirated guys trained in the same black factory? Your opening lines are long-winded and boring. The evil god Colossus dropped 3 data streams onto the dual disc. Your simultaneous summoning of the 3 god cards has been recorded by the altar. Now you cannot summon gods. Your divine authority is disabled, and don't even think about retreating. Dark Bakura lay on the deck pale-faced. This pirate is playing dirty. Once your actions are extracted, the altar can clone high and false gods in the background. And then, Uchiha Yoru didn't even lift his eyelids. State your last words. Then be dismantled as a sacrifice. My turn, draw. Boom. The duel arena's gravity reversed. Inside the lunar module, everyone cried out, their bodies slammed against the ceiling. Kurama's chakra is being forcibly drained. Naruto rolled on the floor, clutching his stomach. Sasuke covered his left eye with a grunt, a gaze fixed on him, causing a throbbing pain in his Sharingan lineage. Which bastard is using me as a power bank? Shikako cursed in Gaara's mind, and the gold sand in the cabin scattered everywhere. Niji's forehead bulged with veins, his Byakugan staring at the ninja world continent. The ley lines are reversing. The 5 Kage's communication channel was noisy. The Reiki shouted about the energy drop in the distribution towers, while Sarutobi Hiruzen said the Konoha node had lost power. In space, the evil god slammed down a black card. Field spell, Otsutsuki's end altar. Over 300 lunar altars lit up simultaneously, black roots extending into space, piercing into the ninja world to drain energy. The evil god's arm pressed down. With the field's effect, special summon, Tentail's divine tree withered husk. The card shadow dispersed, revealing a withered tree monster covered in eye patterns, its gaze fixed on Uchiha Yoru. ATK 4000. Crush him, card and all. The withered tree tentacles swept through the vacuum, causing data turbulence, and slammed toward Uchiha Yoru's head. Warning, enemy attack 4000. Hit soul disintegration rate 87. It's over. The gods are disabled. Taking this hit Hiden means certain death. Dark Bakura broke out in a cold sweat. Facing the tentacle attack, Uchiha Yoru didn't retreat. A slight smirk tugged at his lips. Uchiha Yoru's fingers tapped on the face-down card in the back row. Daring to show your trump card right in front of me? Guess if I have a backup plan. Uchiha Yoru flipped his wrist. Trap card, absorption shield. A purplied beam rose. The phantom of a magic jar opened its mouth, swallowing the falling Tentail's tentacle. The impact force vanished. The 4000 damage data transformed into pulsing green code. 4000 ATK full data conversion. LP rapid recovery 3100 7100. The life force value entered his body, and Uchiha Yoru's right arm pattern glowed red, shaking cracks into the binding black chains. Silence filled the cabin. Naruto grabbed the window with hands and feet, mouth agape. Taking such a brutal hit. And he's healing. Top-tier fraudster style. Sasuke's eye twitched. So shameless. But I like it. Kankuro slapped his own thigh. Seeing Uchiha Yoru unscathed, the evil god avatar cracked. A low-level trap can't block the altar's underlying effect. Field second effect activate. The 3 virus black lines on the card slots tightened. A tearing force appeared, trying to yank the 3 god card faces out of Uchiha Yoru's dual disc. Warning, virus forcibly executing underlying theft. He's insane. It's overstepping to steal high-dimensional monsters. Dark Bakura's eyes widened. In the center of the duel arena, Uchiha Yoru's gaze turned cold. Touch my cards. Can you afford the copyright fee? Flipping his fingers, he slapped a hand card into the spell trap zone. Quick play spell, mystical Chinese walk. The space computing system froze. Walk. Kankuro's jaw nearly hit the deck. Temari put down her iron fan, stunned. A life or death duel, and he's stir-frying in front of the evil god. That's a top-tier shady card that forcibly tributes a monster to convert into life points. He's crazy, Dark Bakura shouted. A golden glowing iron walk phantom crashed in the center of space. My gods, I'll stew them however I want. Uchiha Yoru's palm shattered the dual disc's permission restrictions. 3 divine phantoms were pulled out, then he kicked them into the roiling iron walk. You dare to sacrifice high-dimensional gods? The evil god's voice echoed. Boom. The golden walk boiled. The virus black lines pulling the god cards lost their target. Mystical Chinese walk underlying judgment activated. The black lines and virus code on the card faces were all turned into data fragments by divine fire. Divine energy actively deconstructed. Virus control chain broken. Theft failed. 3 god card slot physical lock released. LP upper limit breakthrough. Current LP 8000. A golden shield lit up in the vacuum. Uchiha Yoru stood on the field, his body unscathed. Naruto held his head with both hands, staring blankly. He really cooked the gods as dishes. Kurama inhaled in the sealed space. To be precise, he stewed them together with the evil god's salty paw into turtle soup. Dark Bakura looked at Uchiha Yoru with full life points sweating on his back. No limits. This is true high-dimensional crushing. In space, Uchiha Yoru patted his imperial robe, looked up at the now silent evil god projection. Since the god cards are locked and unusable, Uchiha Yoru's fingers rested on top of his deck, a smirk widening. Then he'll just not summon gods. My turn. Draw. Golden light tore through the darkness, causing the projection of the evil god to stutter. The three illusion gods were proactively sacrificed, breaking the control chain at the base level. The altar failed to absorb divine power, and the energy was transformed into a protective shield of the system's rules. Not a bit was left for it. This violated the logic of divine rights and the setting of offerings. Uchiha snapped his fingers on the card, his tone calm. Did you just say I am the meat on the chopping board? The projection of the evil god's face twisted. The divine tree's withered shell trembled. The broken tentacles smashed into the moon's surface, charging towards the dark duel arena. You are still on the altar. Then uproot the altar. Uchiha slapped the card, the crisp sound drowning out the roar. Normal summon X-Leader Cannon. Boom. The white heavy artillery smashed through the moon's surface, its track secured, and the barrel automatically adjusted to aim at the evil god. The second card fell. Special summon Y Dragon Head. A massive metallic dragon head appeared, locking onto the artillery side, energy lines illuminating. The third card flipped open. Z Metal Treads. Heavy treads smashed down from above. Sparks flew as three mechanical beasts spread out and reassembled. Inside the lunar ship, Kenjiro pressed his entire face against the blast-proof window, his eyes red. This structure. This gear. I'm familiar. I'm really familiar. Shouma pulled Kenjiro away. What good is your familiarity if you can't operate it? I'm willing to learn on my knees. Kenjiro shouted loudly. Naruto gaped. This is a summoning beast. Does your summoning beast have a plasma main cannon? Sasuke said coldly, his eyes fixed on the enormous steel beast. Boom. The fusion was complete. The massive mechanical body of the XYZ dragon cannon stood on the moon's surface, golden card patterns glowing in the armor's seams. The main and auxiliary barrels rotated, aiming at the divine tree's withered shell. Attack power 2800. The projection of the evil god emitted a laugh mixed with electricity. Panel values insufficient. Uchiha smirked. Who is comparing panel values with you? Uchiha drew a card and tossed it into the graveyard. Activate XYZ Dragon Cannon effect. The main cannon began to charge. Deep within the barrel, the rule patterns rotated, tearing the surrounding space apart. Discard one card. Exile, Ten-Tails Divine Tree's withered shell. The projection of the evil god trembled. The final altar protects the withered shell and cannot be destroyed. Who said I wanted to destroy it? Uchiha looked forward. The main cannon fired. The destructive beam penetrated the divine tree's withered shell. Tentacles, eye patterns, and the remnants of the tailed beast detached from the world's underlying logic. The card shadow flickered twice and vanished into thin air. The system's red frame popped up. Target exclusion successful. High-level monster data has been severed. The projection of the evil god retreated. A large mouth opened in the black gold law figure on its chest. More than 300 lunar surface altars extinguished a quarter under this strike. Well done. Naruto punched the air. This is a technological revolution. From now on, whoever dares to laugh at me for playing puppets, I'll let them taste what it means to have dimensional suppression. Kenjiro said loudly. Niji activated his Byakugan, looking at the moon's surface. The extraction of earth veins has weakened, but hasn't completely stopped. And Mori Liang twisted the black card at his fingertip, his expression grim. Too smooth. Even a guard dog like Torres knows how to play dirty. How could a true evil god only deploy one monster? And Mori Liang looked up at Uchiha. It's deliberately waiting for you to dismantle a certain barrier. In the dark duel arena, the projection of the evil god steadied itself, its voice becoming hoarse. Legal authority. Exclusion mechanism. You are more troublesome than expected. Only now do you understand. Uchiha said. It's too late. The auxiliary cannon of the XYZ Dragon Cannon fired. The beam descended. The altar nodes on the moon were blasted apart one after another. Dense ripples appeared at the edge of the dark domain. When the 30th altar was reduced to dust, gravity inside the lunar ship restored. Naruto fell on the deck. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Sasuke landed, his gaze fixed on Uchiha Yoru's back. Even without summoning the god cards, he could still suppress the evil god. Bloodlines and curse seals are simply a joke in the face of high-dimensional rules. Shikaku is trembling. Gaara clutched his chest, his voice low. It said, "Something inside the moon is watching us." And Mori Liang took a deep breath. The true consciousness of the evil god is about to emerge. In space, Uchiha Yoru discarded his second card. Continue. Exile, core node of the final altar. The cannon light lit up, aiming at the main altar. This time the projection of the evil god did not evade. It opened its arms, welcoming the cannon fire. Boom. The main altar was penetrated. A massive moon crater collapsed, debris floating into deep space. Voices of the five shadows echoed through the lunar ship's communication channel. Yun Hidden's chakra extraction has stopped. IWA Hidden has lifted the alert. The water country's barrier has been reset. The earth veins have flowed back. Niji exhaled. No way. And Mori Liang's face went pale as he stared at the shattered vacuum. The dust of the exploded main altar writhed into red eyes. The dense red pupils floated at the abyssal crack. The projection of the evil god with no facial features cracked a smile. Its voice transformed into ancient static. You have sacrificed divine rights, and personally dismantled the cage that restricted my aura. Uchiha Yoru looked at the shadow emerging from the abyss. Speak plainly. Indra. Ashura. The final offering confirmed. Swish. Countless blood-red eyes turned direction, locking onto Naruto and Sasuke inside the lunar ship. Activate defense, Niji shouted. Gaara clapped his hands to the ground, raising a sand wall. Kenjiro activated the protective array. And Mori Liang threw out a black card. The dark barrier enveloped the entire ship. It was of no use. The blood-red pupils ignored all barriers, directly penetrating the ship's hull. Get out! In the spiritual space, the Ninetails screamed. Just as the chakra was about to explode, it was suppressed by the blood pupil's curse seal. Bang! The ship's hatch was torn open by an invisible force. Naruto and Sasuke didn't have time to shout, their necks caught by an invisible force. The two were dragged into the weightless void. A red circular mark was imprinted on Naruto's forehead. A black tomo appeared on Sasuke's forehead. The curse marks suppressed both of their consciousness. A red warning flashed before Uchiha Yoru's eyes. Final offering has been locked. Countdown to the true descent of the evil god, 60 seconds. 59. 58. Yeah. They absolutely cannot die. In the communicator, Kakashi's voice was slightly distorted. Shut up. Uchiha Yoru didn't glance at the ticking countdown, slapping the dual discs button. Click. The XYZ Dragon Cannon emitted mechanical gear sounds, the barrels slowly turning. The plasma main cannon aimed at the struggling Naruto and Sasuke. And Mori Liang's eyes widened. Are you crazy? Are you going to blow up the offering too? Naruto gasped for breath, the curse seal tightening around him, squeezing out a sentence. Yeah. Don't joke. I still have money left on my ramen card. Sasuke's eyes turned red. If you dare to blow me up, I'll haunt you as a ghost. Uchiha Yoru's finger hovered over the launch button, impatiently interrupting their words. If you're a ghost, you'll have to take a number and wait in line. Deep inside the barrel, white light illuminated the faces of the two boys, making them pale. Uchiha Yoru looked at the evil eye deep within the moon's crack, a smile curling at the corners of his mouth. Rest assured. For fragile key supplies, I will handle them as scrap. High in the air, a red countdown flashed frantically. 57. 56. With each blink of the numbers, the curse mark around Sasuke's neck tightened another notch. 2 crimson data streams were forcibly yanked out, pouring back into the lunar fissure. Deep within, shattered bones and tailed beast phantoms voraciously devoured the code. The evil god's descent progress bar was on the verge of maxing out. Don't look at the core. Dark Bakura clamped a hand over Niji's eyes, his face ashen. You'll get reverse marked. Niji gritted his teeth, forcing his Byakugan open as blood vessels burst at the corners of his eyes. Kankuro's fingers danced over the controls, firing mechanical cables in a frenzy. Crack. The ropes shattered the moment they touched the black light. Damn. This crap defense doesn't even come with a warranty. Gaara swept up a wave of gold sand which disintegrated on contact with the enemy. Can't touch it. On the communication channel the fourth Reikage bellowed. Yi. What are you doing now? Uchiha Yi looked up, his gaze fixed on the red numbers. 49. His voice was eerily calm. Switch to defensive counter on the ground. Niji, keep an eye on the outer shell. Kankuro main cannon on standby. As he spoke he turned and reached out to Dark Bakura. Give me the black card. Dark Bakura's eyelid twitched. Is this borrowing or stealing? Yes, gaze didn't waver. If you're afraid to bet, why step onto the table? The countdown flashed mercilessly. Dark Bakura gritted his teeth and tossed the card. Take it, but don't drag me down with you. The black card landed in his hand. Detected Dark Aligned Origin card. Can be used for temporary disguise as sacrifice. Uchiha Yi slapped the card into the external slot of his dual disc. FZZZT. Black energy surged from the slot, biting into Uchiha Yi's arm. He didn't even blink, absorbing it with his life points. LP 8000-7600. The black energy was forcibly sealed. Dark Bakura stared in disbelief. Enduring high-dimensional backlash. You're a goddamn man. 43. A dull echo rumbled from the fissure. The sacrifice is in place. Descent is irreversible. High above, Naruto and Sasuke, trapped by the ritual, were nearly out of breath. He glanced up. From now on, play dead. Don't resist. Naruto was about to speak when the Ninetales inside him roared. Idiot. Release all your chakra. Sasuke squeezed his eyes shut, forcibly deactivating his Sharingan. He casually flipped over a face-down card. Trap card, Wabaku. A barrier of light shot up, instantly enveloping the two in the air. The crazily draining red lines jammed on the spot. Wabaku effect activated. Sacrifice damage reduced to 0 for 1 turn. Dark Bakura stepped back. Blocking physical damage. But the altar's underlying code still recognizes them. What's the next trick? Uchiha Yi picked up a second card. Trick. I just play by the rules. He slammed down the card. Spell card, Scapegoat. Bah. 4 fat sheep tumbled onto the field, instantly locked by the formation above. Yi pushed the black card toward the sheep. Black energy poured out, cloaking the 4 sheep in a dark shell. Dark disguise activated. Scapegoats gain temporary shell. Deception probability 31. Uchiha Yi clicked his tongue. Too low. He flicked out a third card between his fingers. Quick play spell, Mystical Space Typhoon. A cyclone of blades howled out, grazing Naruto and Sasuke's scalps and severing the identification lines with a crack. Niji covered his eyes and shouted. The identification channel is broken. Deception probability 3154. The lunar fissure contracted sharply. A colossal eye hung in midair, glaring down. Force sacrifice correction. The eye opened wide and the curse mark lunged again at the two's foreheads. Uchiha Yi sneered. You think you can fix it at will? He raised his right hand. XYZ Dragon Cannon. The iron beast materialized with a roar, its pitch-black cannon barrel aimed upward. He discarded a card from his hand. Discard 1 card to banish the correction program. Boom. A beam pierced the void, vaporizing the giant eye on the spot. Deception probability 5471. 30. Naruto gasped greedily for air. Yi. My body feels lighter. Sasuke broke out in a cold sweat. Don't dawdle. End this quickly. Uchiha Yi shot him a glance. Get this straight, you're here to be a sacrifice, not a client. A furious roar erupted from the fissure. You are defiling the descent ritual. Uchiha Yi lifted his chin and scoffed. Stealing code to make a bootleg. Did you think you wouldn't get sued by the original? He shoved the card into the slot. Equip spell, Megamorph. Light exploded. The 4 sheep swelled in size, solidly blocking the scanning line from above. Indra's Shura weight diverted. Deception probability 7188. Dark Bakura clenched his fists. Equipping Megamorph on scapegoats to steal weight. That actually works. Kankuro stared at the cannon, frantically taking notes. I get it. Even sheep can be buffed. 20. The fissure could no longer contain the pressure. A massive bone hand tore through the barrier, lunging toward the sky. Sacrifice return. He had no cards left, and the rules around him locked him in place. Naruto yelled at the top of his lungs. Yi! If you're out of tricks, save Sasuke first. Uchiha Yi pressed his hand on the graveyard zone, his voice harsh. System. Graveyard resource search. Forced decomposition of residual cards. Confirm decomposition. Confirm. Acquired rule points 3. 1 graveyard recovery activated. Light flashed and a transparent card rapidly reassembled at his fingertips. Dark Bakura broke into a cold sweat. Creating a card on the spot in a dark game. That's an unfair cheat. Uchiha Yi slammed the card into the graveyard. XYZ Dragon Cannon banished that hand. Boom. A brilliant flash exploded across the scene, the beam precisely tearing through the bone hand, scattering bone fragments everywhere. Deception probability 8896. 10. The shadow from the fissure panic surging like a tidal wave. Uchiha Yi grabbed the black card. Dark Bakura exclaimed in alarm. Hey, that's just one last step for the authentic flavor. Yi flung the card toward the scapegoats. Black light flared and the 4 sheep were swallowed whole, forcibly replacing the judgment target. Disguise complete. Deception probability 100. Final sacrifice changed to dark scapegoat tokens 4. 3. A thunderous roar tore through the sky. Deception. Uchiha Yi sneered. Playing a dark game and you're talking to me about integrity. 2. The curse mark snapped. Naruto and Sasuke fell together. Gaara sent a wave of sand sweeping them into the ship. The hatch sealed tight. 1. The fissure closed. The progress bar froze. Warning. Final sacrifice error. Evil god descent failed. Remaining time 180 seconds. Lunar debris about to fall on the shinobi world. Kankuro collapsed at the console. The evil god is stuck. But the moon is about to explode. Dark Bakura laughed hysterically. Good news, the ritual is off. Bad news, the whole pot is blown. The ground cracked and a pillar of light shot into the sky. The wind tore at Uchiha Yi's clothes, the cannon barrel glowing red-hot. 179. 178. Niji screamed into the communicator. Lord Yi. Get back to the ship and break orbit. The aged voice of Hiruzen Sarutobi rang out. Come back alive. Uchiha Yi smirked. Old man, you're just afraid there's no one to take the blame for Konoha, aren't you? Naruto pounded on the glass, shouting. Yi. Get back here now. Uchiha Yi didn't move. He stared at the collapsing fissure, his gaze as sharp as a blade. Kankuro locked the main cannon on the outer ring. Kankuro was dumbfounded. We can't penetrate the core. Yi pressed down on the top of his deck, his voice arrogant to the extreme. I don't need to penetrate the core. I'm going to slice it into sashimi that can be sealed. Dark Bakura's voice trembled. You want to dismember the runaway moon? Weightless debris floated around him. Uchiha Yi stood at the center of destruction and slowly drew the first card. My turn. Draw. The moon is falling. The communication channel is in chaos, the fourth Reikage roars. 37 pieces. Each piece has a Jubi split body clinging to it. My sand can stop 3 at most. Gaara's voice was tense. What about the rest? Wait to die. High above at 10,000 meters, Uchiha Yi ignored the voices in the channel, his gaze fixed on the 3 remaining cards in his hand. The barrel of the XYZ Dragon cannon behind him had already developed cracks, 2 more shots, and it would be scrapped. Not enough. Nonsense. An Mo Liang crouched nearby, cold sweat streaming. That jump cannon of yours can only take out 1 at a time. 37 pieces falling at once, even a god would kneel. Uchiha Yi ignored him, drew the first card and slapped it into the slot. Magic card, Pot of Greed. The card glowed and 2 new cards entered his hand. The moment he saw the first card, a smile curled at the corner of Uchiha Yi's mouth. Here it comes. He flipped the second card and a spatial tunnel lit up on its surface. Quick play magic, dimension explosion. The target was the 37 falling meteorites. You lunatic. Are you siphoning the gravity of the meteorites? You lunatic. An Mo Liang roared. The dual disc emitted a warning sound. Warning. Energy overload. Dual disc structure will collapse. Uchiha Yi twisted the limiter to the maximum with a backhand motion, the metal panel smoking hot. He smiled. Overload. That's exactly what I want. Boom. The gravitational potential energy of the 37 meteorites was drawn by the card into energy pouring back into the dual disc. Energy pool overflowing. Current stock. Enough. Uchiha Yi pushed the last card into the field. Come out. V-Jet Tiger. Unfold. W Ejection Wing. Two mechanical creations appeared on the lunar surface next to the XYZ Dragon Cannon. Kankuro's eyes nearly popped out. BW. Plus XYZ? He's going to. Contact fusion, 5E and 1A. 5 beams of light collided in space. The light dissipated and a gigantic mechanical construct floated above the ninja world. It had a dragon head and 5 layers of armor. Its main cannon caliber tripled and 12 secondary cannons deployed. VWXYZDR Regio and Striker Cannon. God. This is a god. Kankuro slid to the floor, drool dripping from his mouth. I can die in peace. Temari slapped him awake. If you die, who will fire the cannon? I'm not worthy. Kankuro pointed at the screen and shouted. That's the chariot of a god. The meteorites were still falling. Uchiha Yi stood on the head of the Dragon Striker Cannon and activated the all-channel broadcast. A voice resounded across the ninja world. Don't look up, ITLL hurt your eyes. As the words fell, the 12 secondary cannons fired simultaneously. 12 beams shot out in a fan shape, hitting 12 meteorites. No explosion, no roar. The meteorites and the monsters on them simply vanished. Exclusion successful. X12. Target data permanently severed. On the ground, ninjas watched the disappearing fireballs. After 3 seconds they erupted in cheers. The secondary cannons turned and fired again. Another 12 meteorites vanished. 13 remained. The largest 2 kilometers in diameter was falling toward the wind country. The main cannon slowly rotated. A golden vortex gathered at the muzzle. Uchiha Yi whispered. Destruction flash. A beam of light shot out. The enormous meteorite began to turn transparent from its core. Rock the Jubi and the evil god code all decomposed into golden particles of light. A golden rain fell over the ninja world. Exclusion successful. All falling objects cleared. Is it? The ashes of the meteorites. Naruto murmured. Niji reported urgently. Lord Yi. The main cannon has cracks. Your life points. LP 76006200 still dropping. Uchiha Yi didn't care. His gaze turned to an Mo Liang not far away. An Mo Liang was stealthily reaching out, trying to grab a floating piece of the evil god's fragment. One of the Dragon Striker Cannon's secondary cannons silently aimed at his face. This door is for clearing trash, Uchiha Yi said without a trace of warmth. The evil god concentration in your soul is 0. 7 exceeding the limit. An Mo Liang's hand froze in midair. Now hand over your black card core and it'll help you purify it. Uchiha Yi commanded. Otherwise you'll be excluded along with it. You. This is robbery. The buzzing sound of the secondary cannon charging began. Fine. An Mo Liang instantly caved, throwing out the black card. Take it. You legitimate players are all bandits. The black card shattered into smoke at Uchiha Yi's fingertips and drilled into the dual disc. Dark Side Authority integrated. Obtained core memory fragment 1. A 1,000-year-old voice sounded in Uchiha Yi's mind. The moon is just a lock. The real tomb is at the bottom of the sea. An Mo Liang collapsed on the ground, saying, Now you know. The evil god is just a watchdog. What the Otsutsuki buried at the bottom of the sea. You don't want to open it. Uchiha Yi didn't reply. He looked at the hollowed moon core. There was something there that the Dragon Striker Cannon's light hadn't touched. A transparent life support pod. Inside, a white-haired dried corpse lay. After removing the death aura and wrinkles, that face was identical to Uchiha Sasuke. Who is that? Naruto looked at the pod, then at the stiff Sasuke beside him, utterly confused. Sasuke was ice-cold, his knuckles white, staring at that face, unable to utter a single word. LP 62005800. Uchiha Yi subtly pulled down his sleeve to cover the screen. He turned to the silent space. Kankuro. Bring that pod back. But what if there's a trap? If there's a trap, Uchiha Yi said calmly. He'll dismantle it again. The moment the life support pod was dragged into the cargo hold, an anomaly erupted. Ugh! Naruto clutched his stomach, his face instantly turning pale. The Nine Tails. It's going berserk. Within the spiritual space, the nine tails bristled as it roared outward. That thing is alive! Older than the old man. Don't touch it. Almost simultaneously Sasuke stared fixedly at the withered face within the tank which bore an uncanny resemblance to his own. His D'Ultimo Sharingan spun uncontrollably at high speed. Stop, Uchiha Yoru said coldly. Too late. The ancient symbols on the surface of the life support pod lit up one by one, and a low thumping heartbeat resonated directly in everyone's minds. Thump. For an instant the chakra of everyone aboard the lunar vessel stalled for half a second. The gourd beside Gaara surged with sand and Shikaku's trembling voice emerged. The prototype of Indra. No. Earlier than him. The second heartbeat. Thump. The life support pod exploded from within. White frigid mist burst forth and the temperature inside the cabin plummeted to -80°C. No escape. Uchiha Yoru shoved Sasuke aside and flipped his face-down card. Trap card. Compulsory evacuation device. The light barrier had just enveloped the life support pod when it was absorbed by it. Warning: rule level suppression trap ineffective. Uchiha Yoru's pupils contracted. The life support pod shattered completely. A withered old man less than 1.6 meters tall rose to his feet. His white hair reached his ankles, his eyes were sunken and his pupils were empty voids of pure white. The moment he stood, Yoru's dual disc issued an alarm warning: detected ultra-high-dimensional authority interference. Warning: system management rights forcibly accessed. Warning: the 3 god cards are experiencing violent rejection reaction. The old man opened his mouth and a voice directly invaded everyone's mind. Return. Thud. Sasuke's and Naruto's knees buckled. The Indra and Azura chakra within them actively responded, forcing them to kneel. What the hell is this thing? Naruto gritted his teeth, resisting. The old man's hollow white eyes fell upon the 3 god cards and Uchiha Yoru's dual disc. Those do not belong to you. Return the system management rights. Uchiha Yoru's life points were dropping rapidly. LP 5800510044003700. The old man had done nothing. His mere existence was draining Yoru's life points. Otsutsuki. Primordial will. Bakura in the corner trembled uncontrollably. The one sealed in the moon is just a residual shadow. Final notice. The old man's voice was icy. Hand over the 3 god cards or else. Forced collection. Uchiha Yoru directly drew a spell card. Light of the Guardian Sword. Golden swords rained down from the sky, implanting themselves around the old man. The old man glanced at them, extended a finger, and flicked gently. Snap. All the golden swords shattered simultaneously. Light of the Guardian Sword forcibly negated. Acknowledge the gap. The old man's voice was indifferent. You are merely a mortal who picked up a management tool. I am the author of the rules. As his words fell, the 3 god cards flickered with light. Warning: the 3 god cards' loyalty has dropped to 0, about to defect. The old man took a step forward. Naruto and Sasuke were sent flying by an invisible force, their chakra surging uncontrollably toward the old man. Lord Yoru. Niji shouted as he dashed forward, his Byakugan activated to its limit, blood trickling from his nose. He activated the tricolor gear that Yoru had given him. 3 halos instantly encircled the 3 of them. With a loud bang, 2 of the halos shattered after only 3 seconds, but that was enough. Within those 3 seconds, Uchiha Yoru activated Angel's Arms. Draw 3 cards, discard 2. In his hand he now held only a single card with a completely black face devoid of any pattern. For the first time a ripple appeared on the old man's face. You say you are the author of the rules? Uchiha Yoru raised the black card, his voice low. Then let me tell you, the one who writes the rules fears the antivirus program. He glared at the violently struggling 3 god cards in the card slot. 3 god cards. You were never monsters. You are the firewall automatically generated by this world when it is invaded. Your sole purpose for existence is, he pointed at the old man, to eliminate foreign invaders. The 3 god cards erupted with blinding light, responding to Uchiha Yoru's will. 3 god cards core protocol overloaded. Target locked. Otsutsuki primordial will. You. The old man's expression finally changed. Uchiha Yoru slammed the black card into the dual disc. With my soul as a medium, true name incantation. 3 god fusion. The 3 god cards turned into 3 streams of law, red, blue, and gold, soaring into the sky and merging into one. The sky of the shinobi world shone bright. In every corner of the 5 great nations everyone saw the golden light exploding across the sky. Uchiha Yoru's LP instantly hit 0. LP 3700800500. His heart stopped, and his vision sank into darkness. The next moment, Hidden Patch detected emergency revival protocol from the previous host's legacy. LP 01. Uchiha Yoru opened his eyes to find himself standing in a golden palm. He looked up and saw a colossal being formed of laws. A golden divine wheel hung in space larger than the lunar wreckage. At the center of the wheel was a luminous humanoid figure with indistinct features. Horikti, the creator of light. Effect possesses the authority to erase all non-original code. For the first time the old man's withered face lost its composure. Impossible. The antivirus program was dismantled by us long ago, dismantled. Uchiha Yoru stood in the palm of the god looking down at him. You merely split it into 3 parts and sealed them away. But you never imagined that disassembled parts could be reassembled. Horikti raised its other hand. A golden light surged toward the old man. The old man's body began to dissolve from the edges particle by particle into specks of light and vanished. I have existed for 6,000 years, you think a card can? Before he could finish he completely disappeared. Only a pinch of white ash drifted in space. All Otsutsuki viral code on the lunar wreckage was instantly formatted. On the ground of the shinobi world, Hiruzen Sarutobi leaning on his staff stared at the sky and shouted to the Konoha shinobi behind him. Do you see? This is the brilliance of the will of fire. A golden bolt of lightning precisely struck his Hokage hat, shattering it on the spot. The old man was electrocuted, his hair standing on end, and he fell to the ground with a thud. Uchiha Yoru's cold voice came through the communicator. You tried to freeload off my light to gild yourself. The Konoha shinobi stood frozen in place. Aboard the lunar vessel the light of Horikti slowly faded and the 3 god cards returned to Yoru's hand. LP 1100. Uchiha Yoru's legs gave way and he forced himself to the console and sat down. Don't touch me. He pushed away Niji's extended hand. Retrieve the previous host's message. A line of ancient text appeared on the screen. The 4th god will not obey you. Go to the bottom of the sea to find the answer. The 4th. Bakura poked his head out. Lord Yoru. Niji's Byakugan widened to its maximum, his voice trembling. A massive spatial rift has appeared in the waters of the Mist Village. Uchiha Yoru snapped his head up. On the dual disc sensor a giant black hole was unfolding on the ocean's horizon. Emerging from it were thousands of cross-temporal warships. The formation was orderly, the paintwork uniform, technology never seen before in the shinobi world. The Otsutsuki main house. The main house's regular army. Bakura slumped to the floor. Uchiha Yoru stared fixedly at those warships. He noticed the emblem on the bow. It was a dual-disc pattern. Within an hour the ninja world collapsed. At Yunin Village the 4th Reikage Ace lightning release armor fizzled out on the spot. At Yanin Village the 3rd Setsukage Daimu, who was floating in the air, fell straight down, nearly breaking his old waist. Shein Ween Mai. All ninjas across the globe, the chakra system collectively went offline. Ninjutsu is unusable. Panic like a plague spread worldwide. Whirlpool Country Base Station's central control room. Yuzuru sat in the main seat, his face pale as paper, and the LP number on the dual disc flashed a glaring 72. He had just descended from the lunar module, pushing aside the hand that Ning Xiai extended, his steps steady. Those tin cans in the sky locked your chakra. Watching dozens of frantically flashing distress signals on the screen, Yuzubo's voice was calm. What those things are doing is simple. First they smash your old rice bowl, then force you to use my new one. He explained coldly to Ning Xiai beside him. When everyone can only use my rice bowl, then harvest both the people and the bowl. A trace of mockery flickered in Yuzubo's eyes. But they miscalculated one step. I beat them to smashing the old rice bowl. He walked to the console and pressed the all-channel broadcast button. This time it was an order. I am Yuzubo. Your chakra is gone and it won't return in the short term. If you want to live, bring people to the nearest base station to report, register your identity, and receive basic cards. He paused, his voice icy to the bone. Those who don't come, I'll consider you forfeited. The broadcast ended. The entire world fell silent for 3 seconds. Then access requests flooded all channels simultaneously. Except for 2. Lei Kingdom. Yuzhibo-yi, what's the difference between you and the invaders from the sky? Yan Kingdom. I will never let the ninjas of Yenin become anyone's puppet. Yuzhibo-yi didn't even look, only tilted his head toward Ning Xiai. Ning Xiai nodded, turned and disappeared into a beam of light. 40 minutes later, the ruins of Yenin village. Kid, what gives you the right? The fourth Reikage AI looked at Ning Xiai descending from the sky, his face full of contempt. Ning Xiai didn't bother to waste words, raising his hand to unfold the card panel. Activate spell card, Forbidden Holy Grail. A light curtain enveloped. Ace's body suddenly stiffened, his physical functions instantly frozen. Damn. Can't move. This is called Dimensional Reduction Strike. Ning Xiai walked up to him and handed over a blank access card. Sign, press your fingerprint. Or you can continue being a wooden stake. Ace's forehead veins bulged. A dignified cage-level ninja couldn't even move a finger at this moment. You want me to be Yuzhibo? Yes, dog. Not being a dog, Ning Xiai said without changing expression, but signing the new user service and privacy terms. Beside him, Shoju rolled her eyes. Can you be pragmatic? Thousands of ships in the sky and you're causing internal strife. AI stared dead at the fleet in the sky, silent for a full 15 seconds. Release me. Ning Xiai dispelled the Holy Grail. AI snatched the card, bit his thumb and pressed it down hard. You'll remember this. When this is over, you'll have an onion with Yuzhibo-yi. You'll have to wait in line, Ning Xiai said as he put away the card. Suizhu is third, Mingren is seventh. You'll probably rank in the double digits. The Yan Kingdom was even simpler. Ning Xiai directly played a recording of Daimyo conspiring to assassinate Yuzhibo-yi in public. 3 minutes later, all of Yenin connected. Daimyo's hands were trembling as he pressed his fingerprint. My decades of face. You still have face. Shoju delivered a precise finishing blow. Within 3 hours, the ninja world unification rate reached 94. In the Whirlpool Country base station's central control room, Yuzhibo-yi stood before a huge projection of the ninja world and pressed another button. Next item. Settlement. Boom. As his voice echoed across the ninja world, the ruins of the 5 great ninja villages simultaneously cracked open. The Hokage building, the Ninja Academy, all symbols of the old era, were disintegrated by Rural energy and reassembled into 5 massive circular arenas. Yuanfei Risen stood in the center of the Mai arena, the unfamiliar card back pattern beneath his feet. The Hokage building is gone. The next second, above the 5 arenas, massive light screens were projected simultaneously. The truth of the Uchiha clan's massacre, complete version. Tuanzang's orders, Yuanfei's acquiescence documents, Roots' live experiments, the daimyo's embezzlement of pensions. Scene after scene, ironclad evidence. After 9 minutes of dead silence, an old man selling vegetables threw the first stone at Yuanfei Risen. Whirlpool Country. Yuzhibo-yi turned off the screen, walked up to Suizhu and Mingren and handed out 2 cards. The exclusive card of the God's Guard, use it as a tool. Suizhu took it. I don't want to be a tool. Then what do you want to be? The person in the life support pod on the moon. Who is it? Log into the system and check yourself. Suizhu silently inserted the card into the dual disc. Mingren swallowed a rice ball in 3 bites. You said no one would be a sacrifice again. Do you still hold that? Yes. Then he'll take it. At that moment, a piercing alarm resounded throughout the base station. A communication request. From the Daitangmu fleet. He answered. In the screen, a man with snow-white skin and features so perfect they seemed inhuman stood on the top of the base station tower. No one knew when he had arrived. Ning Sisbikugen and the system's surveillance all failed. In his hand he held a pure gold dual disc. Quite lively. The man chuckled, his gaze piercing through the screen and landing on Yuzhibo-yi with a hint of amusement. An Mo Liang collapsed on the spot. Original, it's a copyright cleaner. A mere native holding a pirated test code. The man spoke, his voice carrying divine contempt. Dares to spout nonsense here. He raised the pure gold dual disc. The icy blue glow in the card slot had a rule purity far surpassing the 3 phantom gods. Let me introduce myself. Daitangmu Quan, first copyright holder. He flicked the edge of the dual disc, the crisp echo seeming to mock. That system in your hand is the electronic junk my family discarded. The base station lights flickered wildly. LP 173. The 3 phantom gods were asleep, the divine dragon cannon overloaded. Uchiha looked up at that man, then at the cracks spreading across his own dual disc. Then he smiled. Electronic junk. He raised his hand and slammed his cracked dual disc hard, causing it to emit a strained wail. Then come and try. See if this pile of junk is enough to smash your head.